and he gave me an old uniform shirt from that department, the same color. So either I film it, that's why I film in police. I'm actually a deputy. I either wear that old uniform that I had up there or wear something police, because I know that chief still peeks in. I just want to,
he's just
keeping the same.
Kind of rubbing it.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Like, suck it, dude. That's awesome.
But nothing, I mean, there's you can take conversation anywhere, man. There's nothing
Well, I'm going to go ahead and start recording because, I should have recorded that. I'm going to have you tell that story again now. So that sucks.
I bullshit. My entire life is a constant play button, so it doesn't bother me to repeat myself.
All right. Well, so we were talking. We met at Big Daddy, the Big Daddy Unlimited shoot there in Georgia. Is that your first event you've been to like that?
That was the first event like that. Yeah, I'd ever been to. I had been to a couple different things. Nothing like that. Was just, man. That first couple hours I was there, I was like a little kid at a fair.
Right.
I didn't expect when I got there.
So I've been doing this for years, and I've been to many a range day, and I have to say that it's probably one of the most well produced ones that I've been to. Organized, professional, friendly.
Oh yeah,
everybody there seemed happy.
If I go to anything else like that, that's what it'll be compared to. I will rate it based off of what Big Daddy put on down there.
They really raised the bar, definitely. But I've noticed, since SHOT Show's canceled, NRA's canceled, a lot of the bigger industry shows have been canceled. There's been smaller ones popping up, kind of like Big Daddy. Although Big Daddy, I think this is their third year doing theirs.
Yeah,
that they did theirs. But I've noticed that some individual companies are starting to do theirs. I got an invitation from I think it was Palmetto State Armory the other day.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to be doing one down in their neck of the woods, and a couple of other ones. So I think we're probably going to start seeing a lot more of companies just doing their own individual type range days with this COVID bullshit going on.
Yeah, that was you almost forgot COVID existed. And I don't mean that because people were reckless. I mean, it just felt like if anybody was looking for a place to take a break from everything tied to COVID's bullshit, that dirt road, mud road, I guess, because it was pretty nasty down there for that.
It was.
But that road led to a different divine land of some shit that didn't have any COVID, anything negative attached to it.
Not at all. There was no talk of that whatsoever. It was just a group of like-minded individuals having a good time, safe and fun, and educational. I mean, a lot of it was educational. I'd seen some products there that I hadn't seen before, and some companies that I haven't met that I wanted to, been wanting to meet. So made some really good connections there. Met you, so that was. Yeah,
I was waiting for the man, and then there was this one time there was this guy standing there bullshitting with my buddy, and I'm like, holy shit, that's Officer Smith. I mean.
It was pretty cool. But that one guy that we were both talking to, that's written all the books, I can't remember his name or the company that he was with, but he's a pretty big deal.
Oh, yeah. No, before you guys walked up, I was probably there a solid hour, and I ended up, the other bigger guy that was sitting beside him was kind of standing in between them, and I feel bad, too, because when you asked me that, I had his name and it's gone. But the other guy was like, would you want me to move? And he was looking at the guy that we're talking about, and I'm like, what the hell's going on here? He's like, hell, why ain't you letting him sit down? Because, I was hooked on them stories.
Oh, yeah, he had some great stories.
Bails out, and I sat down there and listened probably till I got just tired of sitting and stood back up, and that's when you guys walked up. He was telling me where his start, where these books started coming from, and everybody I had met, I was consuming. I don't know if it's like you just get used to the same people you're around all the time and their backstories, and none of them's bad. I love listening to the older generation talk anything, but you get used to that same kind of tempo. And then I leave, Southern Ohio and end up in Georgia. And this guy, I had never had that kind of conversation, his background. And
he's more of a survivalist, apocalyptic kind of, his stories are, along those lines, complete, breakdown of the system type stuff. And I wish I could remember the dude's name. Damn.
Yeah, I feel like an asshole too.
Yeah.
That's your fault for saying where were we at when we started talking, and it dropped it just as soon as I
met so many people during that too. It was hard to keep up with everybody, and lost a big thing of my cards that people had given me. I don't think anybody lost my card, though. I bet you still have my card, don't you?
I really do. I kind of show your card off
Do
occasionally.
you?
I kind of show it off occasionally because I feel bad because my nephew, I got several nieces and nephews, but my oldest nephew graduates this year. He's signed up for the Marine Corps. He's got all these things in place, and he is a gun nut. Like, I would consider myself like a junior varsity gun guy. Mm-hmm. This kid is like Division I.
He knows his stuff.
Stepdad, yeah, his stepdad and my sister, they own a local gun store here, and this boy's been around guns. So his grandpa had a gun store. I mean, this kid's been raised around it, and he sent me down there. He looked at Leviathan Group's tribe, and I'm like, I don't know who's all going to be here, but here's where I'm going, and he starts going through this list of people. Now I'm messing with him, thinking, yeah, wait till he gets to his Uncle Rick at the bottom. Like, I'm done. But if you can be put on, now I'm a UFC guy, but if you can be put on the same page with Chuck Liddell, I mean, I might be way down at the bottom.
I mean, that's big. You're on the card, baby. You're on the card.
Yeah, he starts scrolling. He's like, well, this guy's going to be there. And I'm like, well, I don't know. This is who could be there.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, I don't know. So he gave me a magazine to take down with me to get this short list of autographs for him and bring it back. I'm like, no problem, Blake, I got you. I'll take it down there. So I get down there, and I cannot remember because I met so many people right off the jump. One of the guys shuttling us back and forth, or somebody in that mix. I told him what I was doing, and they were like, well, give it to me. I'll take care of it. Like, I'll know who I'll get the signatures. Well, I mean, you seen how kind of mixed up it all was and kind of chaotic depending on where you stood and where you went and who was. And by the end of the first day, I'm like, I forgot what that guy looked like. I got to find that magazine. Well, I'll catch him tomorrow. And I didn't catch him. So I'm baiting him with your business card.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I'm baiting him. Like, hey, I didn't come back with yours, but I got another one.
I got an alternative. Will this work? And he's like, who the hell's talking lead?
Well, I'm going to force him to listen to this so he knows I brought him up.
Very good.
So maybe he'll get some kind of like slight payback from his uncle that I brought him up on your.
Well, he can use that one to get his next volley of autographs that you go to. Definitely. And Chuck Liddell's been to a handful of these things that I've been to, so he's pretty common now. So I think you'll be able to get Chuck's again. And I forgot Chuck was there even. I gave him one of my business cards too. And for you lead heads that are listening, my business card for this thing was my Mission First Tactical Leadhead Brigade 30-round magazines that David there made up for me. And they were a hit, man. And I wasn't even planning on using them as business cards because I actually forgot my real business cards. And I felt like an asshole. And I was like, well, I don't have a business card, but here.
I think it might have been exactly how you said it.
Yeah.
I don't have a business card. Don't want to be an asshole, but here. All right, yeah, I'll take it. Sure. Still wrapped in the plastic.
Yeah, I mean, they were brand spanking new from Mission First Tactical, one of the sponsors of Talking Lead. So as you lead heads are listening to this, you're like, who the hell are you talking to? If you didn't see my pre-show post and maybe even in the title, I don't know what I'm titling it yet at this time because we haven't released it yet, obviously. We're talking to Officer Smith. He titles himself comedian, but he is a LE, active duty LE, been LE for 21 years. 21. And it's amazing that he still has a job with the videos that he posts. But if you haven't had an opportunity, which I'm sure most of you have because he's got like a bazillion time more followers than I do, so I'm sure all you lead heads are already following Officer Smith. But if you're not, he's on Instagram. He's on Facebook. You just search Officer Smith. It's Officer Smith on Instagram, I believe, right?
It is Officer Smith 1 on Instagram, yeah. Yeah,
and as you're listening to this, you can get a better feel of where he's coming from. So I'm excited about this because I think it's going to be fun. We like to have fun on the show. We don't take ourselves too seriously, kind of like you do. But at the same time, we like to educate and make our listeners aware of what's going on so that they can be proactive at the same time.
Sure. I noticed whenever you posted this on your Instagram, and I grabbed that tag and I posted it. I love the dynamics of social media because the number, like I'm still a guy I still feel young, and I'm not a young guy. I'm freaking turned 42 on December 22nd. I feel like
you're a young whippersnapper compared to me. So,
okay, good, man. Because every I've talked to is like, you're that old? Yeah, asshole. I'm that old. Like, 21 years.
21 years. What do you think?
I'm that guy. I start looking at people's pages, especially Instagram's pretty easy to like figure your content is specific to the type of followers you got. And when people ask me what kind of content I post, I'm like, yeah, don't really look at my followers. Don't read the comments because you can't really tell. And I looked at yours with that, drop a question here. So I did the same on mine.
And I appreciate you doing that because I get choked down by these social media platforms. So when I make a post, I never know if it's going to get out to anybody or not. It's
brother. I'm wrangled from. I mean, I'm not getting it as bad yet as some of the guys that I routinely talk to and routinely do stuff with. But some of these guys are getting absolutely smoked clear out by social media.
That's us.
Your page is so pro to everything that seems to be in opposition right now.
Oh yeah.
That I going down. So I drug it over to mine, put it on my Facebook page as well. And just in mine, like just the Instagram people followers versus the Facebook, there's a huge dynamic difference. Started looking at some of the questions they were wanting to ask.
Yeah.
So like I told you before we got going, I'll answer any question you ask me. I am an open book. I have lived a life inside law enforcement where I felt like the culture of law enforcement has been like deliberately kind of like put on a different level when it comes, even in the academy days where old instructors telling you how to behave, how to act. And I've grown up with it. And I was raised, so to speak, career raised by older guys that are my age now, back then.
Right.
And the open book idea, it's the only way I feel like my integrity stays clean, because I don't want a boilerplate answer. I don't want a typical response. I don't want that.
Well, and the reason that I said, it's a wonder that you still have a job is just that because LE, I mean, it's always been political, but it's even more so the past, 8 to 10 years. It's just become extremely, and the suppression of our Second Amendment, especially in industries like yourself, the civil service industries. It's like, you say the one wrong thing and you're out no matter what. I've had other law enforcement, military men and women on the show, and nobody, from what I've seen of what you do and probably what I'm expecting us to do, nobody's going to be as open about it as you're going to be. So this is going to be refreshing from some of our past guests.
And I get looking from where I'm at, looking at, like I'm going to probably end up accidentally plugging pages. And it's not that I'm plugging them because it's a content page. These are guys that I made friends with that I know about, behind that content. And some of them do work for larger areas. And I saw a post from a friend of mine yesterday, and his content, man, has got to be the most uplifting. I feel like there's a wordplay there. I know people comment and send me messages that, this video was great. I needed that this morning, whatever.
Sure.
And that's uplifting, I guess. But when I say uplifting, this guy's stuff is legit PR, positive everything. I mean, there's just nothing negative there. He doesn't even cast an opinion over a negative topic and try to make it.
Who is it?
Like, well, his page, it's 50 Joe, but I'd have to look myself on Instagram because he types out 5, I think, and then it's O Joe.
Let me look it up while you're talking. 5, like 0 or the number?
0, 50. I say 5.
50 Joe.
Yeah.
And he's got like flags. Is it Jose?
Let me find him that way. It is 5. Oh, it is Jose. He's got the. Yeah, I'm sorry. When you said Jose, we're reading the 50 part, and yeah, that's him.
Okay. Let's look him up.
I mean, and he posted something, and I don't know if it's on his Instagram or if it was on his Facebook, but where he's taking a hit where he's at, and I'm like, what in the world could he have possibly posted? And if your listeners want to go check it out, they'll find that post. And I guess the reason why I'm kind of keeping that limited is I don't want to talk for him, but I can tell you that what you said about my content. I know I work in a place where there's like this relative understanding of social media and spoofed content, or me editing myself into a YouTube video, me having an opinion based on what social media. Like I got hit the other day on Instagram for bullying, threatening, harassment, whatever. I made a post about it, It's been taken down. So I screenshotted the violation and posted it. And I literally took a comment from a video that's been on my it was one of the questions I think somebody asked too, of a county that's a few counties away from me.
Right.
The viral video that went out about an officer at a football game tasing a female. It went all over the place. So I made a video about it. Because I know that guy. I know guys that work in that department, and he was getting just absolutely trashed, which, that's the current climate, it seems like, with law enforcement.
Oh, yeah, man. They find any foothold, they're going to dig in.
It blew up on Instagram. For me, Instagram is one of my smaller places. The video is still constantly getting viewed and commented. It's a true split, 50-50. This officer was in the right to the most hateful, different level shit.
Hang him up, lynch him kind of stuff, yeah.
Yeah. So one of the comments was directly to me. Now, it wasn't about the guy in the video. It was about me, and it was that something along the lines of, I should have been the Portland officer that was set fire in his cruiser. Maybe somebody will do me that favor. Or maybe even said, if I can find out where you are, maybe I can do it. Some shit like that.
Yeah.
So I screenshot that and I posted, and I made a comment about sociology, and I feel like I'm decent at sociology. If I wouldn't have been a cop, born in a different place, that's what I would be teaching is sociology, because human behavior, you can't hide your behavior. Any listeners for you are going to agree with this. You can fake crazy. But you cannot fake where you're from. You cannot fake your behavior. It will come out. You airlift me and drop me down in the center of Columbus. It'll take about 3 seconds for people to figure out I'm not. I fake it and try to, act like I'm from there.
Yeah.
But I'm going to stand out. And this guy, I'm like, he don't know anything about anything. He just being he's saying that. So I screenshot it, post this. It was up for about, I don't know, maybe 6 or 7 hours. It gets zapped. Now, I got hit for harassing, bullying, threatening by posting his comment as a post. I got messages from people. This is just Instagram. Instagram messages, tags that was like, I've reported this son of a bitch, and his comment is still there. Now, I've never banned or deleted anything anybody post. Mm-hmm. Early on, I probably would have if I'd have figured this out. But later on, I'm like, no, I'll just send this guy to the followers.
Exactly. You let the listeners take care of him, man.
I will comment to you. I will draw attention. You will become the most relevant comment on my page, and people that see it differently will handle that shit for me.
Yep.
So I don't believe it. But this guy, they reported him. They didn't report him because he was being mean. Hell, you go to that video, you're going to see all kinds of crazy shit. But Instagram still left it there. Like, that threat is still left there. But me screenshotting the threat, not threatening back, just screenshot it, posted it. It
they
gets
ban
hit.
That.
Gets hit for harassment. Yeah.
So you get a strike. Strike one for Officer Smith. Is that your first strike?
Hell no, it's not my first strike.
I can't imagine it would be. How many do you get? It's like 3, and then they like shut you down or something like that?
I have, whatever that number is, if it's in a window of time, I'm not sure, but I have never actually been like
shut down,
able to post on Instagram. I've been really, really close on Facebook. TikTok, for crying out loud, which my content is pretty much the same between Instagram, Facebook, whenever they allowed IGTV and you could post longer videos. Before it wasn't. So my TikTok is completely different stuff. And my page got completely just taken away from TikTok. Took me like 12 days to get it back.
I've never used TikTok.
It is a black hole. Stay off of it if you haven't been on.
Yeah, I have no intentions to get in on TikTok whatsoever. And Parler was shut down. They completely illegally, wrongfully shut down. It just the big boys didn't want the competition, man. They knew that's where everybody was going to flood, so they stepped in and they shut them down. I don't think as of today they're even back up.
It's not. I tried to get on mine a little bit ago, and it's still not up.
Yeah.
So far, I have trashed Twitter and disabled my Twitter account. I was already on Parler. Twitter was still there, but I didn't get on it much after all the shit started with them. And without anybody's encouragement, I just deleted my Twitter. I did make a post on Twitter. I'm sure it didn't last long before I deleted it, letting Twitter know why I was disabling my.
They care. They
don't care.
They don't give a shit.
Parler was, even not just for the sake of me, but for the sake of of like-minded people. The parlor was blowing up. They knew that. They saw it coming.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I'm slowly considering Instagram. There's this is what sucks. Like I don't do my content for anything other than what people want it for. If they say thanks, man, that put me in a good mood, that's what it's there for. I've had messages from vets. I've had messages from vets, cops, retired public safety firemen, and then John Q. I'm a school teacher. I work in a pharmacy, that have given me stories, and I'm kind of weird. I screenshot some of that stuff and keep it for myself, because that's what I use when I have a bad day. Like, I'll go back and look at
it's uplifting. Man,
real bad day was and compare it to mine. And
I mean, how many times I've thought about, just throwing in the towel and just like, screw this, I'm tired of doing this, tired of all the bullshit that goes along with it. And then I'll get an email or, a message from one of my listeners, and it's just like, this is why I'm doing it,
Yeah, that's the same thing. I mean, it's the same thing. It might be a crack joke, or it might be a meme making fun of a fireman, but it changed somebody's pace that day. I get in a bad mood, I go reading comments. And I keep my game sharp, so to speak, with the assholes that want to try to throw shade on my page. Listen, I will crack my knuckles, take a big deep breath, and I'm raised in a place where and by a strong-willed mother that I've got my ass kicked as a kid because I wasn't very big as a kid.
Yeah.
Never allowed somebody to just to bully me or to push.
Now you're kind of tall, aren't you? Like over 6 feet.
If I go to the chiropractor, I'm on the upside of 6'3".
Okay. Yeah.
I typically walk around at about 6'2" because I don't get to the chiropractor very often.
So everybody's taller than me. I'm 5'10" with my shoes on.
You could have said anything right there. You could have said, "Yeah, I thought you were 6'3" when I looked down at you," but now you just.
Well, my listeners know me, so they.
Oh, okay.
Then they know that everybody that I associate with is like 6'3" and taller, so I'm always around the land of giants. Yeah.
I was going to try to help you out there, but.
Yeah, there's no helping me. You can't help short. There's no fixing short.
That tall side is just as bad. I've been getting shit off the top shelf for people since I was probably a senior in high school. So there's some benefit to being short.
So there's this segment that I do. We call it the Planes and Trains segment. And it's kind of our, I don't get real political on this show because I like to keep it positive, keep it fun. But we do have this segment, and it's kind of our way to vent and, get out maybe someone or some organization or something that we just want to call out as being stupid or dumb or, we just don't agree with. And we call it Planes and Trains segment, and the first part is the jackwagons. That's our jackwagons, the people that we want to call out as being stupid or dumb. And then to balance that out, we've got our Leadhead Brigade heroes. So somebody who's doing something positive, having a positive impact on our community, doing good things that we agree with. Maybe not everybody, but whatever. So the first one is the Talking Lead Jackwagon Train, and the second one is the Lead Force One. And are you familiar with Arlie Ermy?
Oh, absolutely.
So Arlie Ermy does an introduction for our Talking Lead Jackwagon Train. So, Gunny, bring that train in.
Hoorah, Semper Fi, do or die, hold 'em high at 8th and I. It is time for the Talking Lead Jackwagon of the Week, so brace yourself, baby.
So it's actually Arlie Ermy. He's like one of the first people that we met when we started doing this podcast over 9 years ago. We met him at the NRA in Dallas, I believe it was. And we did an interview with him. We were telling him what we did and, told him about our jackwagon train. And he goes, "Do you have like an introduction for that or anything like that?" We're like, no, hadn't really thought about it. He goes, "Do you want one?" We're like, "Yeah, we would love one." And he did our introduction right there on the spot. It was pretty cool.
That's cool.
Yeah, pretty cool. And then we were friends with him ever since then. All right, so the train has stationed, and we've got a lot of jackwagons probably that we could take care of. But I like to start with my guests. So, Officer Smith, and do people know your real name, your first name?
Yeah, some do. It's not like it's a secret. My name is Rick. I am really a Smith, but
right.
I mean, I've been called worse. I got a twin brother. Sometimes I go as him. It just depends.
Is his name Nick? Rick and Nick?
It is Randy.
Randy.
Yeah.
Shut up, Randy.
and he gets that a lot. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh, man.
His name has made an appearance in a few of my videos. If I need like the asshole in a video, if it's some YouTube video that I've used and edited myself into,
right.
I typically name somebody that I know, use their first name, and he gets the appearance every now and then.
Have you ever done like a mirror image? Are y'all like? Do y'all look alike?
We are actually mirror image twins.
Okay.
Which is like when I'm a 78 model, so I'm an 80s kid, right? And I come from that generation where my mom dressed us
71.
the same. 71?
Yeah, I was born in 71. Yeah, I am old.
Old. Whenever mom, like the little idea of twins, you dressed them alike. Well, then whenever taking on our own identity, it was the same shit and outfit. It was just like mine was blue and his was red.
Yeah, just a little tweak here.
Yeah, just a little bit. So I'm right-handed, he's left-handed. We had that traditional 80s comb-over shit that every barber only had like that haircut for boys.
Oh, yeah.
It's just mine parted to the right and his parted to the left, so we actually had the mirror image identical twins. I'm going to start my car up. You tell me if it's too loud and I'll shut it back off if it is. Because this is, what is it, like 30 degrees here? Once it stops beeping, it might not be so loud. If it is, I can shut it off. My windows are fogging up, and that will draw attention to my car sitting here.
No, that's fine. No, I don't. Yeah, it sounds good. It's fine. Is it going? Is it running?
Yeah, it's the power of a Chrysler 300 right there, pal.
There you go, baby. Sweet.
My old man sedan. I love it.
So you're a twin. I didn't want to call you Rick if you didn't want your name out there. So I like to ask before I do that.
Sure.
So Officer Smith, do you have any jack wagons that you want to throw on the jack wagon train? Anybody?
So we're talking about like, what level we talking? We're talking like state level. We talking about?
It could be anything. I mean, I've thrown airline stewardesses on there before. Yeah.
I want to start it off by throwing the governor of Ohio on that wagon. Is where I'd like to throw him.
That's a damn good start.
Because locally, I mean, I can start picking some people out at gas stations and whatnot. But if we want to go for I'll start with our current governor.
Okay, and what in particular does he earn this spot for?
He earns it in my
your
heart.
book, yeah.
And I do have a book of Smith. Now, if you catch some of my posts, I'll put a little nugget of information out there, and I will tell people you can find that in the book of Smith, chapter 12, verses 5 through 7. Nice. He starts in that book because when this COVID shit started, Ohio, for the most part, and I'm being genuine when I say this, I love this state. I love our football team, even though we are all licking some wounds after the other night.
I'm telling you.
Speaking, people here, the number is good people trump bad people here. They just do. And in these small counties, these small country counties, the good people dominate the bad. And so people, when he came out when COVID started, like the March era, I call it COVID 1, like COVID generation 1 started, he came out and he told us as Ohioans, what he expected and asked of us. And it didn't come out like, it almost come out feeling like I'm just asking you if you'll help me this way. And for the most part, people were like, okay, bub, what do you want us to do?
Right. He was asking because he was asking. Yeah.
Here's this window of time. I remember watching it on television, and I'm like, I don't know that you. You can't do that either. You're asking. Okay, cool. I get it. And individually, people I think had to sit back and themselves and say, am I going to just do it because I'm being asked? And I'm being asked the right way, or am I going to be an asshole and not? And he put a timeline on that, and I thought, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to prevent my kids from being out anywhere they shouldn't be or don't need to be. So I'll go to the grocery store. I'll be the one that goes and does the errands. I'll take care of that part. So there I'm contributing, and I'm going to go right. Just when I need to go. And I'm not telling anybody this, right? I'm not jumping up and down on Facebook saying I'm following the order. I'm just doing the right thing at first.
Right.
And then over time, after that, 14-day mark, it became oh, look, they listened. Let me see how much more I can get.
Mm-hmm.
Then our first order come out. And when that first order come out, of course, law enforcement's going to take the front punch. That first jab negative coming out. It's not coming out to the lawmakers or typical politicians. It's coming out to the guys on the street.
Yeah.
So then it pushes back to the guys on the street to make the right decision. Well, I didn't tell you this in a little snippet I sent you by email, but I've been a cop 21 years. I'm also an academy instructor. I haven't been in it in a couple of years because of my schedule, but I still teach in the academy. And I got to go to the academy a couple of months ago just to do like a little hour speech for the cadets. And I thought, man, I remember when guys did this with me, and I want to be the right one that tells them, don't forget what you're doing in here. Don't forget your oath. Don't forget, take that stuff and consume it. Remember that you take your oath first for the Constitution and then the state.
Absolutely, yeah.
And what gets me is I saw it here, not here where I work, but I saw it here like in my area, that guys were forgetting that. So then the order comes out, and then the questions come, well, I bet they're going to go start arresting everybody for, and this was like the, essential travel shit and I had somebody on my personal Facebook ask a question, or it was a post, a friend of mine's, and they asked a question, and law enforcement was already starting to get a little bit of an attack because it was generalizing it. I bet they all do it. And I made a comment, I know one that won't. And I was speaking for myself. And expecting positive from that, I got fallout from that. Because now it was already starting to divide. You had people like, oh, here's a cop not going to go do his job. And then you had the people was like, well, if he does his job, then he's working for a tyrant. Well, ask the fucking cop, man. Like, yeah, it's an order. It's an order. And they classed it in this kind of like sketchy ass second degree misdemeanor thing. Well, guess what? You told me that it's got discretion when you did that. And my discretion is I will not enforce that. Well, then he come out with a big push that it had to be enforced. And here was the penalty. And it's like, man, who put you in office? Mm-hmm. Like, holy shit, I voted for this guy. And I'm watching the fallout, and I feel like he's reaping what he's sowed already. But he is definitely like top shelf for me right now.
Yeah, without a doubt. And, anybody else that's, the dude in California, the dude in Michigan, just all these people who think that they are monarchs dictating the Constitution and, our freedoms to us is ridiculous. But it's just like you said, man, you give them an inch, they'll take a mile, and they're not going to stop.
I did the right, in my mind, just me at my house, I did the right thing when I was asked. I didn't take any authority that I have and push that.
Well, sure, and anybody in the beginning, nobody knew what was going on with this. But as the information started to come out, and we get more educated on it. We're like, this is not what they're making it out to be. This is ridiculous. There's some other motive behind what they're doing here.
When you take an order, or let's say it starts off as a suggestion.
Yeah.
He got so bad that you could see the suggestion was going to be a part of the order in 24 hours. You could see it come. And you do so many of those, you're going to over contradict. Like, you don't just contradict, you contradict the contradiction. And if you're just a simple thinker, somebody that can just put 1 + 1 is 2, and you're like, well, wait a minute, why would you? Does COVID just stop becoming contagious at 10 p.m. only in bars? Like, what?
Right.
What? And unfortunately, there are people that desire being spoon-fed any amount of shit. I'd like to see some of the capacities of the stomachs of people that can hold pounds and pounds of shit and never once turn their nose to it and be like, wait a minute, that's enough shit.
There are a lot of them, apparently, because...
Apparently.
I mean, I don't know who's buying into this. Not a lot of people in our area are. I'm in Middle Tennessee, and for the most part, we've had really good officials that haven't really tried to impose it or enforce it. Our restaurants, for the most part, have stayed open and been working. Now, not Nashville. I live in a town just outside of Nashville. Nashville's been a little bit more stringent on their rules and a little more
I was just
tyranny.
I was down in Pigeon Forge in Gatlinburg for my birthday.
Happy birthday.
And if I was known to use that close to, I don't know how close that is, but hell, even being in the state, I'd have found you while I was down there.
Oh, shit. That's like 2.5 hours. I could have been there, 2.5, 3 hours. No problem.
First time I'd ever been there. And, of course, COVID's not exempt anywhere, but it's there. But when I went to nowhere I wanted to go, I couldn't go. Every place we went to eat, we could go. I had no problem because here's how I operate. Like, and I want to get to that. I want to get to the question that I saw pop up of this county close to me, because it ties into this. Everywhere I went, I'm sitting in my car and I have my girl with me. And I'm like, the sign says we got to wear a mask, but if we're going to be able to eat, like we'll go here. So I don't have a problem because whoever built that restaurant, whoever that owns that place, if their side is in jeopardy, I'll wear that mask in there.
Sure.
It's because I don't think I'm being forced to. They're asking me to.
And you don't have to eat there.
Right. You don't have to eat there. And everywhere we went, it just felt like we had an extra piece of an extra article of clothing on, because now I did go into a Trump store because my boy wanted some certain Trump stuff for Christmas. Now he waits like the week before Christmas to ask for it. I'm like, I'll never get it shipped. And I'm driving down like the main drag there in what's the big one? That's Pigeon Forge, right? The
Pigeon Forge is right below Gatlinburg. That's where all the touristy stuff is.
Okay, I get them confused. So, like, where's the Stampede, Dolly Parton Stampede? That's Gatlinburg?
She's in Pigeon Forge.
Okay, so I'm driving down that strip in past Krispy Kreme Donuts.
Yeah.
All right, so that's where I'm at. And I'm like, there's no way I'm going to be able to get this stuff for him. And she goes, there's a Trump store right there. So there's
a store.
The store was called the Trump store. So
I'm not surprised. Oh.
We roll in there, and I'm like, holy shit, there's flags hanging everywhere. Like, I'll be able to get him what he wanted for Christmas. So we put our mask.
Get him a hat, get him a flag, shirt.
He had 3 particular flags he wanted, and I think a couple stickers. And I'm like, what's random, but maybe they'll have them. We walked in. We wasn't through the threshold like 4 feet, and I just hear some guy go, hey, can we help you with anything? And I turned and looked. He went, oh, y'all can take the mask off, man. This is a Trump store. And it was like just the environment to, hey, if you want to wear this, wear it. There's asking. Hey,
yeah.
Don't go up and lick the
So I handle it a little differently than you do, because, again, I think it's ridiculous. I think this whole COVID thing's ridiculous. Masks aren't, people are still getting it with the mask. It doesn't help anything. Sure. And they're calling just the regular flu COVID. So, who knows? So I'll go into a place. There'll be a sign on there. I'll go into a place, and if they let me in without wearing one, then I'll go in. And if they make a deal about it, then I'll leave.
So I was like that when I said COVID-1. That was like the March era.
Yeah.
That's where I was at with it. And it's nothing to do with local orders. It's got nothing to do with the state mandates. This is what I ended up doing. And it just clicked in my head. I've got an aunt, and I have to say she's one of my favorite aunts, because if she stumbles across this.
I completely agree. The people that are more susceptible to it, I'm respectful to them. Obviously, and
well, it's not so much like the class of people that can get a cold and it could be damning to them. Mm-hmm. My aunt works at a Walmart in a different county from here, and I noticed that the one that I would go to, they were putting like the youngest female employee that they could at the door, or they were putting that older guy that had like the Vietnam vet hat on that had an obvious, like, you could see the physical disability that he had. Mm-hmm. And I remember asking her, like, what are they doing? Why are they doing that? It's like, well, there's less chance for confrontation. Like, they had thought that shit through. But inside the building where my aunt works, she works inside there, and she's been there forever. And she's like, here's what they told us. Now I'm just talking about boss to employees. Mm-hmm. So then I thought, me wearing it into a place now has zero to do with whether or not I'm going to catch that shit or I'm going to give that shit to somebody else. It is truly out of that lower middle class person that's trying to make it work, whose management is sitting up in an office looking through a 2-way window that probably came in through the back, that don't deal with the assholes in there, that says, if you don't wear it, your ass is gone. Not the people that come through, but if you don't wear it.
Yeah.
Now I walk in. Now there's places around here that don't say anything, and I don't do it. But it has nothing to do. It's just the people there, not the people patronizing it.
Well, the people that work there, if they want to keep their jobs, that's what's required, then that's their choice. They don't have to work there either, right, if they don't want to do that. But some people have to, and they have to do the job, and they're like, look, I can't afford anything else, so I've got to wear this mask. So they're being forced, basically. They're being told what to do, whether they believe it or not. But me personally, if I go to a business, again, if they got to sign up, I'm going to walk in. I'm not wearing a mask. And if they say I can't proceed, then I'll leave. It's simple as that. If they welcome me in, then I'll come in, and they get my business.
And that's that mutual respect too.
And I don't make I'm not an ass about it. I don't say, well, fuck you, or anything like that. It's like, cool, fine. And it's just like the firearm signs. No firearms allowed here. Of course, they never know if I'm carrying or not because I, do it concealed. I do it concealed, so they're never going to know anyway until shit goes down. But I don't typically patronize those places.
I've brought up that sign before. It seems like now there's been a climate painted, or a narrative, I guess, painted to the opposition side that will say that sign's not the same. It's
the exact same.
It is exactly the same. I have with this incident that took place in a different county on a video that I made. I watched people, and this is the argument. I'm going to bring that up to you, and I'll tell you the backstory, and then you tell me.
Okay.
You try. So historically, since organized sports on the high school, junior high to the NFL, we'll talk about football. Those are sanctioned under some entity that governs that entity. Every state's got it for high school sports. I don't know that I've ever recalled a day as a kid, nor as a adult officer, that there's been a sporting event at a high school, junior high, where an officer hasn't been paid to come work that, and it falls underneath that sanctioning.
Mm-hmm.
I can tell you that I have removed people from ball games, from everything legit, like full outright adults fighting with weapons, to somebody that say skipped in the gate without paying, yada yada. But there's reasons why people get removed.
Yeah.
And I knew the second that the schools take a dump, with kicking the kids out of the schools over COVID, then sports start to, my kids are sports kids. We're all crossing our fingers that sports starts back up. And when the schools started opening up to sports here, it's the only thing that I don't know now, because our governor's still on my top list. Don't think I didn't forget about that train that came through and grabbed his.
He's on it. He's got a seat.
But I think he kicked that responsibility down to the it's OSHA is how it's pronounced. It's an acronym for the Ohio Athletics for high school, to basically do something in line with COVID for something. It wasn't, here's a mandate for you. It was, here's what we're wanting people to do. You guys write your own thing. When the schools opened up to sports, it was like, this is what we're requiring. Now, when I go to a basketball game for my son, they got some of the bleachers crossed off. You got a mask when you go in there. And at first, they didn't have that. So I was the guy going, without it. And then the school come out with a school policy to it. It wasn't, here's the order from the governor. It's the school's policy to it. No different in my mind as, say, walking into a high school football game with a big middle finger on your T-shirt as an adult, and you're going to sit on the other team side because that's what you like to do. Somebody's likely to, a staff member, whatever, say, hey, you got to cover that up. You can't have that middle finger showing, whatever.
All right.
Another line has been kicked out of more basketball games when I was a kid. The woman never said a cuss word in her life, and she was kicked out of games for mouthing off to a ref, whatever. So this incident that took place, it's completely public. The video went viral. It happened in Logan, Ohio. It was at a junior high football game. That was an order of the school. Mask up when you come in here. This woman goes through the gate, pays for her ticket, wearing a mask, gets to a seat, takes it off. Of course, we're talking about cell phone life, so the cell phone footage comes on when an officer shows up. There's no back footage to it. Nobody seems to have. There's no responsibility to do your own looking into something. You just
critical thinking, man. We preach and teach that on this show. You gotta critically think for yourself.
Yeah, well, we live in a time now where you're almost fucking champion to not. It's like, here, let me make you think.
Oh, absolutely. This. Don't even stress yourself about thinking, because we'll think for you. Here's what you need to think.
And it is so bad now. This footage starts. The officer has already made contact with this woman, and the way that I can speak for that school, and I can speak for Ohio School in the sense that somebody else has made contact with her. Staff member has likely made contact. Most even pre-COVID, if somebody was doing something the school didn't want, a staff member would have made contact with him, told him to stop doing whatever, smoking, in an open auditorium or an open football, stuff like that.
Yeah.
So this woman refuses. Now, this is where I start splitting hairs with people, because I am anti mask mandate enforcement. I've never issued a citation for it, nor will I. If you want to go to the gas station, get a pack of cigarettes and stand there and bullshit for 10 minutes outside with your buddy, I don't care. I'm not enforcing that. Here's where law enforcement gets kicked in the dick, so to speak. I don't know if I can even say that. If not, you'll probably edit that.
No,
out,
you can. I just said fuck. So.
Oh yeah. If you edit that out.
I don't edit my vocabulary. So if my guest
Oh no, I have my vocabulary is a part of my therapy, man.
That a boy, yeah. It just feels good sometimes.
It just does feel good.
It's therapy.
So the kick in the dick that law enforcement takes is the politics, the state level and the government level politics have put in so much focus on this mask as any interaction a cop has with a human. It is enforcing this order, and it's just not the case. The kick in the dick that we get is that cop is standing there watching a football game. Mm-hmm. This guy is an oak, man. I don't even call myself an oak. I know my integrity's in check. I know I'm a good cop. I know I've helped people. But this man is like an oak. He is that cop. He's the guy that you want your kids to see. He's an SRO in that county. He's a good guy. And somebody came to him and said, "Hey, we need you to go tell this woman that she has to either put that mask on or has to leave." That's no different in an idea of school sports. You know, this guy is cussing at the other team. Go tell him to stop cussing or he's going to have to leave.
Sure, that's different. It's a little different.
Where that gets drawn is if the school adopts it as a policy. Now, what he did was go over and say, "Listen, they've told me that you have to have this on while you're here. Put this on or you're going to have to go." That's not him telling her she's got to mask up or get charged. He's on this school's
But see,
property.
that's not even your or a police officer's responsibility. That would be the people who are responsible of the public area there.
Here's where the line, at least in Ohio, gets skewed with this.
Yeah.
So schools are not public nor private. They define it like as quasi-public, quasi-private. If it was truly private,
don't they call them public schools?
They do call them public schools, and yeah, they are funded by tax dollars.
Right.
Here's where I guess a cop would fall into this shitstorm. Okay, if you're at a game and you're yelling at a ref, you're not cussing at him. You're calling him a zebra. Are you blind? I've seen it myself.
Sure.
My aunt, God love her heart, she got ejected out of games for that shit.
Oh my God, we did that all the time growing up. You know, that was just part of it. Yeah.
So
that was the fun of going to a game and yelling at the refs.
Oh, absolutely.
Harassing the refs.
I have to find my balance, and sometimes I check myself on this because I watched this video, and this guy's a monster, man. He's a big guy, and she's a female. Of course, it's a cell phone video, so all you can hear is what is just there, and he is essentially pleading with this woman. Look, I don't care, what you're doing. The school is telling you to do this. They're going to refund your money. You're going to have to go. Now, it's the same in this. You remove the order from it for a minute because the schools adopt them as a policy. And if the school says you can't yell at the ref, but you yell at the ref, well, then nobody's making a stink over the First Amendment.
All right.
Disrupt the game, whatever. And we are called at the point where someone won't leave the property. It's not making them wear that mask. It's at the point they won't leave the property.
Yeah.
So they put in this buffer spot that's bullshit. Because now you're asking them to follow the policy, which no, we should not be in that spot.
Yeah.
If you somebody that needs removed, I'll come remove them.
Because at that point they become, if it's private property, at that point, if they're not abiding by that establishment's set guidelines, then they're trespassing. And
exactly.
Then they're breaking the law, and the police can do it. But you're not removing them because of the mask. You're removing them because they're trespassing.
Because of the trespassing. So when you watch the video, you can not only through the video. Now, like I said, this man is a big guy. This is a small framed female who, at the point where the mask isn't even, now we're talking about trespassing. Like, ma'am, you're going to have to go, and she refuses that. I can tell you by my own experiences in that kind of scenario.
Yeah.
Anybody else's I've ever seen. It's like there's either a line you have to draw with ask, tell, make to. I mean, you don't have to warn somebody. This guy was going so far beyond that you could see that he's the guy that you want to come handle your call. He's being as lenient, yet he's doing
diplomatic,
his job.
Trying to be diplomatic about it. Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah.
At some, he continues to refuse to leave, and he's like, "I'm going to have to arrest you if you don't." We're not talking about a mask. We're talking about you're at a property you're not allowed to be at now.
Yeah,
you got to go. He refuses that. He tells her she's under arrest. She refuses that. He tries to put her in handcuffs, and she fights. Now, there's a dynamic behind the taser. People want to think that that's a horrible weapon. I've tased the story that we'll tell in a minute.
Okay, yeah, I want to tell that.
Not counting that incident, I have tased like 6 people in my entire 21 years, and 4 of them have been females. 4 of them have been smaller frame females than me. I've been tased myself. I understand it sucks, but it's certainly a lot less likely for my 240-pound frame to injure a 150-pound woman. This guy, like I said, he's a big dude.
Yeah.
choice that he made. Well, now it become, oh my God, he tried to kill her with a taser. She fights the whole way. Within the next day, that the police department, the city, everybody's releasing their press releases and making it known in the first 2 lines that she was not arrested for that mask, was not charged with some kind of a violation of an order. She was charged with trespassing and resisting arrest. That's the video that I made, that I got the threat on, that I got a strike on. And when I made that video, it was like, yeah, I had my own spin on it because I got a kind of a salty sarcasm.
So how did the media was taking it as what you just said? They were reporting it that way. They weren't reporting it as police brutality or. Oh no,
it was every headline was woman tased for not wearing a mask and woman tased for violating the mask order. Woman arrested for, and then the excessive force kicked in.
But see that fit their narrative because they're not about police brutality right now. They're about the mask.
So if you roll through the comments of that video, especially, you will see everything from police brutality to the mask order. It's blended.
Yeah, but you see how the media could have spun that either way they wanted to there, to fit their narratives with the police brutality or, they wanted to, if you don't wear your mask, look what's going to happen to you, which that's the highest on their agendas right now.
That's exactly the picture that got painted.
Yeah.
Man,
that's unfortunate, man. That's unfortunate. And we're seeing that everywhere, not just in Ohio, but it's happening everywhere. And they're just trying to scare people. It's a fear game. They're trying to evoke as much fear as they can into the American public, into complying with their unconstitutional rules. They're not even the idea of rational thought. Hey, man, it wasn't a mask order. She was arrested for trespassing. Right.
Trespassing.
They didn't even say that, I'm sure, in their articles, did they?
None of the department did, but nobody cared about that part.
Yeah.
Locally, it probably did hit. There was a protest up there. The woman was tied to a stop group that showed up and protested the police department.
Now, I'm sure this lady's suing y'all.
Well, it's not my county, but yes, I'm sure there's a lawsuit.
I'm sure there's a lawsuit going on. Yeah. Well, I mean, we'll see what happens. That's unfortunate. And you've got that's the video that was taken down, so your video's not up anymore.
No, on Instagram it's still there. I lost it on Facebook. I'm getting it back from Facebook.
Okay.
They did lift it, but I just haven't gotten it back from them.
Yeah.
But it is on Instagram.
Okay. Well, you lead heads can go there and check that video out. So definitely jackwagon-riness going on there, no doubt about it. The school system or whoever it is that put you law enforcement in that situation to begin with are jackwagons. They basically force your hand at that point to do something that obviously this guy didn't want to do, and he knew that it wasn't right that he had to do it, but they found their loophole in getting law enforcement to do their dirty work for them.
And that becomes, here's why we don't want her here. Now do your cop stuff.
Yeah.
And it wouldn't have to PA'd it. This ain't nothing to do with this mask. I'm here because this woman has been asked to leave and she won't leave. No, they didn't care about that.
No, not at all. Not at all. Yeah, definitely jackwagons.
That's why I hold that I will not enforce it. It's they screw up when they make it. Well, for one thing, they screw up anyway by even trying to enforce the order as under a health order. They can fluff it all they want and call it a second-degree misdemeanor, and well, you made it a misdemeanor, so you get suppression behind it. So no, it's not on my list.
And you've completely gone black now, so I don't see you at all.
Because
it's nighttime.
I'm sitting in my office in my car, so it went dark on me. It's dark now.
It is dark. I see. There you are. Now he's back drinking his. Are you going to hit somebody with that tea? Is that a twisted tea?
Man, I'm in my car.
In your car drinking a twisted tea.
It's a rock star.
Is it a rock star? Okay.
Yeah, so I give up on the carbonated stuff. Now, did you go over to Killcliff while you were there?
I did. I went over and talked to that guy, and thank you for reminding me because I need to follow up with him. But those were good. I never had Killcliff before.
They hooked me up. They sent me I could tell you that the shipping would have probably cost more than the drink. They sent me a ton of that stuff.
And I'm coming up to your house then with the vodka, man.
I'm down to if you want one to mix, let me tell you that Joe Rogan come up with a flavor.
Uh-huh.
It's called not spicy pineapple. It's a pineapple one. But it's hot. It's like flaming pineapple.
A hot pineapple. That's crazy.
They have combined you can taste the pineapple like you're biting into one.
Yeah.
But got like the cayenne pepper heat to it. Now it don't taste like hot sauce.
Is it more of a thermogenic type drink?
That's what it reminds you of.
Okay, that's cool.
What? You put that in some Tito's?
Me and my buddies were having a talk about pineapples the other day, and the I don't know what you would call it, but why you eat pineapples, like if you're getting ready to go on a date or something.
Uh-huh.
You know, see where I'm going with that?
I actually got told this less than 24 hours ago.
Oh, are you serious?
Well, I knew it before.
I'd heard about it years ago, and I don't know how I put an orange in everything I drink, an orange slice. So sweet tea, water, beer, put an orange in it. So
Different.
Yeah, but I just, I don't get scurvy. Yeah.
Well,
You never see me with scurvy. But one of the guys like, hey, do you ever put pineapple in your stuff? I was like, well, most places don't usually have pineapples. So that's kind of what got the conversation started on that. But we won't go into the reasoning behind it. You guys can Google it.
Would be curious if you could get your listeners, when they comment to this, that they just say, I know what the pineapple does.
Yeah. What it does to your anatomy, your physical anatomy.
Yeah, they don't have to say anything specific. Just I looked it up.
Say been there, done it.
Or been there, done it. That's how you'll know.
Been there, done it. Yeah. So that's a pretty good Jacko. Normally we'll have 2 or 3, but I think we ran long on our jack wagon there. So let's try to get some heroes in on this segment. So anybody stand out to you, Rick, that's done something outstanding in our community, our world, that deserves recognition? Doesn't have to be an individual. Could be a group of people. Could be an organization. Might even be a thing. I'm
curious just to what you think a thing would be. Give me an example of a thing.
Of a thing, like a product, like a rubber band. Hey, a rubber band is one of the greatest inventions ever. So I want to throw it on the.
So here's the thing then. Whoever came up with the metaphor of 2020 or anything that is described as a dumpster fire, I feel like whoever created that one-liner needs to be on this list. I have used dumpster fire to explain more things than I have derogatory comments about either one of my ex-wives, of who I get along with now. Okay. So whoever with the dumpster fire, I'm going to use that as my thing. That is a classic definition, picture, image, explanation, expression, or emotion of what the hell 2020 was that we just came. Of course, 2021 looks like it's going to be like a full.
It's going to be a forest fire.
It's going to be a full like whatever they call like the dumpsters get taken to, like the dam.
Uh-huh.
What the hell is that called?
The dump?
Big ass. Is it the dump? The dump? Is it a dump?
The city dump?
Yeah. The city dump fire. That's going to be 2020. So we'll coin it now. We're going to say that we said that.
I think it's going to be a California forest fire is what I think.
California forest fire?
Hell yeah.
Organizations, I tell you what, organizations, humanizing the badge has stayed as focused and as true to their organization as far as positive law enforcement, positive outreach in law enforcement through all of this show that 2021 was, through the rioting, through all of everything that was negative towards public safety. Humanizing the badge as an organization stayed focused on what their cause is. There's a lot of guys in larger pages of mine, guys that how I thought were older than me, only to meet them in DC to find out that I was old enough to be their freaking uncle. Those guys were all part of that original group of humanizing the badge, like Mike the Cop and Officer Daniels. As an organization, humanizing the badge would definitely stay on that positive side.
Okay. Do you know the link to that?
It is just humanizing the badge. Now, there's a lot of people that'll hashtag that, but they're on Instagram and Facebook. Traditionally, they just have like a thin blue line flag as their symbol.
Okay. Is this a nonprofit?
It's a nonprofit. There's a lot of links inside that, so to speak, that go to the cops organization. that a lot of the donations through cops goes to like the memorial at DC, Relentless Defenders tied in through that. And I'm, again, I don't like to sound like I'm plugging Relentless Defender as a apparel company. Most of their stuff is geared towards law enforcement. What Aaron Slater does with that company and what he pays back out to people, not just cops, not just families of fallen officers. His company's dumped out, hate to misquote him, but in excess of, we're talking just, I've paid the bills. I've paid my employees. I've made my money. And now here's the $1 million that I'm donating out to all this stuff. And that man none of this has changed him.
What's the name of his company?
Relentless Defender. It's an apparel company in Texas. I don't know if he's in Houston or if he's close to Houston, Texas. I got to go to DC, not 2020. That's asked everything up. So it'd have been 2019 for Police Week.
Police Week. Yeah.
Because of him, we went to the banquet, the gala there. That's basically all the people that donate into this cops organization. And he's just one shop. Like, this is one business, and he stands up in whatever, gold, silver, bronze category. And I can't remember the figure they said this man had put back. And it's like, and he was still active. I think he's retiring now, or he bumped down to part-time, but this dude's still working. Like,
so it says here, Relentless Defender, the brand, was established as a thin blue clothing line built on a platform of support for our brothers and sisters in blue. Whether you're retired, peace officer, or just getting started, we understand the obstacles officers face each day. Many are spit at, threatened, abused, hated, and killed. Saw a lot of that this past year. Yeah, all by those we selflessly serve. In defense of these obstacles, we gear up and face them head on, becoming an unbreakable thin blue line that separates the predator and its prey.
And he holds that like it's an anthem. That this climate, this bullshit narrative.
Slater?
Yeah, he is a top shelf dude. And you can, if you see his stuff on social media, it don't change him. It's like fuels that man. It fuels
sure.
what his drive is. And unfortunately, we've seen it this last year. How many officers up and just retired out? Guys that were quitting right in the middle of their shift.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not talking down to those guys. They did what they did for whatever reasons they did it for. But the ones that kind of shit fuels, that it doesn't make them stop doing what their focus is. And that's the hero group you're talking about. There's an implied idea in law enforcement, to make the place better, to save someone's life. There's all that like catchphrases to that shit.
Yeah. The
ones that for the right reasons, I don't care where you live and the cost of living's high, but you make six figures as a cop in New York if you've been there for a while, or you're, I tell you what guys make down here, it would embarrass them. And they're not doing it for this salary.
Sure.
You do an opposition, it's because they're bullied as a kid in high school and they just wanted to abuse their power and all that bullshit you'll see on my page and the opposition comments. They don't know the rat shit from Rice Krispies, man. I grew up hard. I grew up in a shit.
There's those analogies coming. I want to hear those. Keep.
You get me off, man. I'll come up with stuff I might have to jot down something to add to that. None of my shit's rehearsed. I don't script none of my videos.
You come up with some of the greatest like rat shit to Rice Krispies kind of stuff. It's hilarious. I love it.
It's because you can picture that. If you didn't know rat shit from Rice Krispies, where do your IQ level fall?
Right.
And the trolls that jump on a social media post and bark from the back like they know what they're talking about, and they don't, because they can't determine rat shit from Rice Krispies. They had a mouthful of one of them. The guys that hold through all that shit, and that's me. I mean, I love my area. I love the people that I police, the communities that I'm being a deputy. I'm in a bunch of different communities. Just because I talk the way I talk, I always tell my kids, girlfriend, that my vocabulary is bad and I don't mean cuss words. It's just my explanation of things just don't sound like other people's. The difference between, and my mom hates when I bring this up, I remember being like 80s kid, right? When Eddie Murphy Raw come out.
Oh, yeah. Love that.
We got set aside. Like, we ain't allowed to be in the house when they're watching it.
Oh, yeah. You couldn't. My parents never knew I watched that. No, I'd have got my ass busted.
But I can remember them going, like, go outside. And that's like August, and it's dark. And I might be like second grade, like throw you outside with like a pitcher of Kool-Aid and a couple of bologna sandwiches because we're watching some shit. And me and my brother, I got two a twin and a younger brother, but he would have been way too little. Me and my twin are at the back side of the house listening through the wall at Eddie Murphy. Had no idea what he was. We just knew that it was making my parents laugh.
To this day, it is still hilarious. If
it is,
if you haven't watched it, you got to go watch Eddie Murphy Raw. It's classic.
I reference that movie as a 42-year-old guy. When I make a joke and somebody says something like, "I can't believe you said that. That you're awful," and I'm like, bullshit. Don't tell me that somewhere in your life you didn't giggle at some shit like that. And then it clicks in my head with Eddie Murphy. That day in my life of being like 7, 8 years old, sticking my ear to and listening to my parents rolling, not having a clue what this man was talking about.
Yeah.
I get older and watch it for the first time, and I'm laughing like a hyena at that. That comedy is like it was.
Roll little Charlie around. He'll be okay.
Yeah. Rolling as a teenager.
Just sprinkles.
I'm like,
just sprinkles.
Man, we'll start going back and forth on that one.
I love it, man. It is so the generation of today know Eddie Murphy as Disney 5.
Yeah, all that.
You go back and listen to that Eddie Murphy, you're gonna go, that ain't the same guy. But yeah, it is.
That's why I reference it. I'll tell people the only difference between me and you is I'm the guy that was watching Eddie Murphy with a VHS tape, laughing my ass off in the 80s, and you were the one outside sticking your ear to the door, laughing at it too, but didn't want nobody else to see you.
Oh yeah. Well, like I said, I'm a little older than you, so Richard Pryor, I got a good dose of Richard Pryor before Eddie Murphy.
Absolutely. I go back and watch all that old shit. George Carlin. People that laughed back then,
God, yeah.
they weren't getting soaked by the public because they had that sense of humor. The only difference is people will say, "Hey, I love watching Eddie Murphy Raw," and the other people are listening from outside the wall. They're still listening, they're still laughing, but when you put a light on them, they're like, "Oh no, not me." Mm-hmm. Bullshit. Yeah. So I am supposed to embrace the negativity as I get older because I know they're not different. They just don't have the balls to say that they're different. They're the same.
That's my hero. I'm throwing the old Eddie Murphy of the 80s on Lead Force One. The Eddie Murphy Raw. He gets a ride on Lead Force One. The Saturday Night Live Eddie Murphy. Gumby. Oh, you remember Gumby?
Hell yes. I just was watching some old episodes of that like maybe a week ago.
Some of our listeners are like, what the hell are these old farts talking about?
I wasn't thinking about that kind of stuff for the list, man. You'd have to throw Dennis Miller.
Oh, yeah. He was the king of whips, man. He was so quick.
So I try to achieve like Ryan Reynolds, Deadpool level one-liners. That's my goal in life. But when you look at Dennis Miller,
nobody can top him with one-liners, man. That guy. Man,
stick a microphone in his face and just turn him on.
So intellectual, too. Absolutely. Some of the shit, is just like way over my head.
That's the way that I think. So whenever I talk to people or I make a video or do whatever, it's just the way it comes out. I know there's people that get it because I'll get a response back like, "Holy shit, I never thought of it that way."
Well, let's do that. Go ahead. Let's. I want to get some of these questions. I know you got limited time here. I want to make sure we get these listener questions in.
You go ahead. Do you want me to look while you got some right there?
Well, I'll look them up. But while I'm looking these up, I want you to tell the story. How you got involved with this. What got you started with the Officer Smith persona? We'll call it.
Okay, so I got a twin brother I mentioned earlier, and at the time he was a county commissioner. So he's an elected guy. He's always in like our state capitol. He's always bumping elbows with fancy people and smart people that wear suits and shit. And
hobnobbing with the rich, baby.
Yeah, you've got me. We come from the same house, ate at the same table. I tell people this is a joke. If you split a human being in half, and they've got the good side, the bad side, the angel and the devil, whatever you want to do.
Right.
That's
twins, Arnold and Danny DeVito.
Yeah, we have that same thing. That's a good comparison. So he is currently he's a full-time preacher, right? I'm the guy that you see on social media.
Oh my God, he's a preacher.
He's a preacher. People ask me, are you really like you are in real life as you are in your videos? The short answer is yes. My face is just not filtered that way, but yes. We have the same sense of humor, though. So when he was back in his commissioner days, he was in Columbus. He had probably sent me a meme or something, cracked a joke at me. So I had just got Snapchat, old school Snapchat, first filter that popped up. I recorded a video and I sent it to him, 60 seconds or less. That's all you could do. Knowing that he would likely open that thing up, knowing he probably didn't have his phone silent, and I would catch him in a group of people like that. So I did that. He's like, asshole, I was around people when you did that. The ball's in your court, pal. What do you got next? What he did was that
brotherly
video
love.
Oh, it's constant. We are 42 and still act like we're 12-year-old twins that still go after each other. So he sends that video to a page called Ohio Going Blue. Ohio Going Blue posted it. Well, they posted it as a video, so it appeared to be like theirs. They got some hits off of it, messaged him back, said, hey, if you make any more of those, send them to us. He told me, I made another one, sent it to him. He sent it to them. I got hooked up with their admin people. They basically taught me how to set the page up. I'd made that page private, made a couple videos, basically had my Facebook regular friends on it, maybe a few outsiders, but it wasn't anything that I'd ever put any thought. Didn't have a cover photo. I just did some stuff. Well, then my hat's off to the man. I owe him everything, and I tell him that every time I talk to him. Officer Daniels. If you follow cops on social media, Officer Daniels is a household name. He's like one of the originals next to Mike the cop. I'd started my Twitter page because my boy told me I should, so someone didn't steal my name, because they did on YouTube. And I get a message from a page that says Officer Daniels. I thought it was a cloned page, didn't respond to it. I was at the range for rifle for like 12 hours, get the message. I'm like, I'll message that guy back later. A couple days later, I message him back, and I kind of like mess with him. Like, if it's really him, he'll chime in. So I'm like, sorry about the delay. His message said, how come you've been on social media for 6 months? We haven't got together, done something. My response was something like, sorry about the delay, but to be honest with you, man, I don't fuck with amateurs. Knowing if it was really him, I'd get a response back.
Yeah.
So I get a video message back at him flipping me off. It's like, man, it's really me. I'm like, holy shit, that's Officer Daniels. He had shared one of my original videos, and it was the first one that I got that went viral. My page got turned on public, and it just blew up.
And so what year was that?
I think I've been on for 4 years, maybe.
4 years? Okay.
There was like a 17, 18 chunk in there where it like went from private to public. My son, he's 13 now. At the time, he's like real smart kid. Man, he's like definitely got that from his mom, not me. And he's telling me, hey, you got to do this, you got to do that. And I started opening up the other platforms. At the time, before all this social media bullshit, it was because I was getting my name yanked and people were taking my videos and making their own pages.
Right.
And it's my kid to help me straighten that out. And that's where I'm at now.
That's what I need. I need a kid to help me run my social media.
Because when I say I need an adult, I say that at least once a day. I'm not lying. I need actually, I say I need a handler. I need someone.
Yeah.
Right now, my kids are my handler. My girlfriend keeps me from like she's probably my handler, and my kids are my adults. If that makes sense.
That does make sense. That's
how my page grew up. I chase my pages around. I like to see my Instagram go up. But I don't know that it matters anymore, man. The superpowers that are social media. Look at that face. Am I smoking weed in that? Did you do that or did I?
No, I'm taking snapshots for show post.
Well, that was horrible. It looked like.
Well, give me a good one then.
I look like Carl from fucking Sling Blade.
Carl from Sling Blade.
Either Carl from Sling Blade or the guy from Men in Black 1, Edgar. The first, yeah, like right before Edgar turned into the alien.
Alien.
I was all fucked up right there. So anyway, that's the short.
He was in Full Metal Jacket with Gunny.
Oh yeah, he was. I had argued that when that movie came out.
Def Renato, whatever his name is.
Like that's Pyle. No, it's not.
That's Gomer Pyle. Yeah.
Pyle.
Yeah, it is. All right, so that's the short and sweet version of it. And you've exploded since then.
Well, I do send inappropriate messages to people.
There you go. That's nice. Let's go to our messages here.
Okay.
And this one says for Officer Smith. This is from Rebecca. This is on Instagram. Rebecca Hoffman.
Now, is this from your page or mine? Because I'm telling you that they're going to be different. I can already.
We'll switch over. This is for mine right now.
Okay, cool.
We'll take some from yours. We'll take some from mine. This is Rebecca Hoffman 3109. Says for Officer Smith, what did you think of the riots in Washington?
The riots in Washington. This is where I'd like.
The riots or the protests, because there were two different things. Just like Black Lives Matters and the Antifa bull crap.
That's where I was going to start it with. There was just two different things going on there.
Yeah.
I had friends that were at that rally. I had friends that were at the rally. The Save America rally, I think is what they called it. Was it the Save America?
Yeah.
The original actual rally. There's absolutely a solid line between the protest and that rally. If I exclude the rally and just not talk about the way the media is doing it, but the protest, and I air quoted that even though people can't see it.
Sure.
A person's going to protest whether or not it was by design, the individual that wanted to do it, whatever. The actual criminal protest, I'll say it, the criminal activity inside the group of people, as an officer who I hold my job seriously, my personality is kind of like an asshole, that if there was a crime committed, the individual should have been held accountable for the crime that they committed. That was not a riot, because the riot was not, in my eyes, the riot was not geared because of that rally. It was two separate things. And if people can't say that, then you can't say that a Black Lives Matter protest in Minneapolis because the frontline people were holding a sign. Now, I don't care what your sign says. We had a true peaceful demonstration here during all that. Every town had them. We had
Sure.
one that went off without a hitch. But there was also a line drawn there, like we will protect your First Amendment. You can do what you're allowed to do, but don't for a second think that chucking a brick at somebody or
Violence is not protesting. Yeah.
It is not protesting. And I think that people, because of the super heads like the governors and the fucking city councils and opposition of our president, all of the things that get encouraged for the behavior. Well, I'm a little kid now. My mom said I could do it. You can't hold me accountable for it. My dad said I could do it.
Mm-hmm.
So you can't call one without the other. And until our super heads decide to call them the same, one way or the other, it was truly split. I will say that anybody that was violating criminal law with criminal intent, whether it be a victim or a piece of property, should be held accountable if they get caught and they get investigated and go through the chain of the criminal justice system. But I'm not calling Trump's rally a protest. He was rallying followers. I mean,
yeah, and he wasn't calling for violence either. If you listen to his actual speech, not what they cut up on the media and let you hear, make you think, he wasn't calling for violence at all.
So here's an analogy, because I speak in analogies and metaphor. You've played sports?
Absolutely, yeah.
All right, so I want you to picture the halftime in the locker room. And the coaches, that we'll say with football, and the line coaches are running around saying, I want you guys to go out there and I want you to smash somebody. I want to see points on the board, whatever.
Yeah, kill him. I want you to go out there and kill him.
There's a kill him. Go out there and kill him. That's even a better one. That's more direct to the bullshit.
Exactly, yeah.
Go out there and I want you to kill him. There's phrases that everybody, again, back to the Eddie Murphy thing, who's watching it, believing it, and listening, who's listening to a wall, has heard that from somebody. Now, if that coach waits for every single human being to walk out of that locker room and grabs you from the back, says, come here for a minute. No, I literally want you to take this knife and put it up your sleeve. And I want you to go out there and I want you to kill the quarterback, is completely fucking different than the rally that happened inside that locker room. Well, Trump all of a sudden became the guy that stopped everybody and said, go burn something, go kill somebody, and that's bullshit. And I hear people say, but he's the president. Okay, but there's governors that said, where does it say in the Constitution that a protest?
Let's rewind to Obama and when he was inciting violence against police officers.
Yeah, absolutely. He is Cuomo's brother, the one that does CNN.
He's a douche. They're both douches.
To millions and says, where does it say in the Constitution that a protest is to be peaceful? My son was 12 at the time, and he goes, literally in the Constitution.
It's right there in the Constitution.
This is a kid. This isn't a kid that's spoon-fed by a conservative father. That's a smart kid that paid attention in history class.
Yeah.
But if you're on the side that says, oh, look, Dad said I could go do it. If they don't
makes it right. Yeah.
If labeling it the same, man, I will tell you there was criminal activity at the Capitol. People were hurt, killed, and attacked. There were victims of the Capitol. But it is separate from the
protest, yeah.
Protest to the criminal behavior. And if you got to call it that way, it's all that way.
Yeah. If you're calling this a riot and you're not calling the Antifa and the Black Lives Matter, where they took over a freaking city. They started their own city for how many weeks, and they just let them do it.
I also made a video.
You're the problem.
In case anybody wants to check that out.
You did what?
It is still on Facebook. I think it's still on. It's pinned to the top of my Facebook page. It's a defund the police video.
Oh yeah, I watched that today. Yeah.
And I got to mention Chaz in that.
You should do. Did you do a video with your son and the video clip of Cuomo with the Constitution thing? That would be great, like you did with your daughter and the Christmas one.
I think we're going to have to revisit that one. My son, yeah, I did. He'll appreciate that because he's mad that I've included his sisters and
not him.
And I haven't got him in another one. But yeah, that's a good one. We're going to have to revisit that one.
Yeah, that would be a good one. All right, let's go to Girls Go Faster on Instagram. What is the worst DM you ever got from, what's the ex call them, badge bunnies? I can only imagine your inbox. Green face, laughy face.
I think I actually saw that one. So I will tell you.
Stay off Tinder.
I love that end, by the way. I read that one too.
Okay.
I will say that up front, and when it started, I looked at my inbox like anybody else's mailbox. I was opening every message and trying to respond to everybody. And then somewhere in the middle of the night, one night, it turned into a place that I don't go unless three things have occurred. One, I take my birth control. I don't touch my inbox unless I'm birth control. Yep. Wear rubber gloves or have hand sanitizer immediately after I'm finished checking the inbox. I will tell that the lady that asked that question that now don't get me wrong. I get way more cool, positive messages from people than what she's asking. But I have opened up a DM that had no message to it whatsoever. None. It was just a single picture. I'm not exaggerating when I said I held my phone at every possible angle and every single light that I could to try to figure out what it was that was sent to me. I concluded that it was either some sort of an animal that was fighting for the end of its life, that it was caught in the rain, had not shed its fur coat yet, and it could have been injured. It could have been a physical injury. It was either that or somebody, God love her heart. I'm sure. I'm leaning towards a female. God love her heart. That
you hope
she's so confident that whenever I opened it, she must have been on standby to see that I read that message.
Mm-hmm.
And her text came back was speechless, huh? With a question mark. All I could respond to was, yes, I am in fact speechless.
Horrified and speechless.
I want you to picture what I described, and that's the worst one I ever got.
Yeah, I was going to eat dinner after this, but
make sure you
take
catch
me a
it.
minute.
It's got to be in the it's got to be on the rain. Like it's got to be on the side of the road in a thunder.
It looks like this dog I'm looking at right now. The wet dog there eating the duck.
So if I got that dog, I would have probably messaged that one back. So amplify that one a little bit more.
Right.
But God love her confidence. He was like, speechless, huh? Yes, ma'am. I am in fact speechless.
So let's take another one here, and then we'll jump over to yours. Looks like Osiris 911. Did you ever think you would go viral and make so many people laugh? Be safe, brother, from Ed Bradley 911.
The short answer, absolutely not. I didn't even know what viral meant. I had to Google it whenever one of my dispatchers from the PD I was at when I made my stuff. I said, what does viral mean? Does it have a number? Like, what does it mean?
Like COVID-19? Is that?
I had no expectations. I had no idea what it would do. The fact that he covered the make so many people laugh is why I'm in it still today. Like I've always been a cut up, always. The idea that somebody I don't know, never met, looking down through a handle name, comments like, woke up feeling like shit, day changed. Private messages about the worst. I've read some messages from people that's like short books of their entire life, especially with some of the veterans, and catch a video that I forgot I even posted and then send it back to him like this right here, man, changed my day. Thank you for that. I mean, I don't know. It ain't fame and it ain't fortune, man, but the idea that somebody I don't know on the other side of the world is like their day just got adjusted.
Exactly. Like I said, like we said earlier, man, that's what keeps me going on this too, man. It's
100%.
It's seeing the satisfaction that our listeners get. Maybe they learn something. Maybe they get a new appreciation for something. But it's that feedback, that positive feedback that really drives me anyway.
Dude, man, those negatives keep my shit sharp. So you will look through my comments and you'll see a negative. If you see that I've responded to it, read into that because I don't hold back on the negatives either.
Attaboy, attaboy. All right, we're jumping over to yours now. A lot of ladies, man. You do have quite the female following here.
It is not. It is.
Sarah Alice is just laughing. Long, HOM, long hom chick. HOMCHICK. You're a gluten for punishment, huh? Laughy, laughy. Tina Gleason Davis, laughy, laughy, laughy. TL Weir 83. Are you PD or SO?
So in real life, I'm a deputy sheriff from sheriff's office.
Okay. Megatron for 2020. How much did you cry after Alabama whooped that ass?
I am still suffering.
Go SEC, baby.
I don't hide my Ohio banner. I don't hide it. And after that game, yeah, we have a therapy group here. We meet. We don't meet very often, but we've met since the other night.
ACKISONB. A Kicksonby? Sunby? I don't know. I can't read some of these names. They probably mean something, but I'm not getting the right.
I'm just as bad.
Enunciation for it. So no question, just thank you for keeping us fellow Ohioans safe. That's nice.
Yeah, that's the stuff. Even them little things like that, man. That's.
Yeah. I think I know the answer to this one. I think I heard this somewhere. What's your most favorite band?
So I don't want to cut anybody off on this. Like, I just picked up a couple new ones, and so I can't call them favorite, but they've been burning up in my car. No Resolve would be the newest, like, top shelf band, and I actually found them on TikTok.
Okay.
Didn't know they existed. If you haven't heard No Resolve, man, they do some covers. Love them. I'm a hard rock guy. Just to stick with like the now, I got to put Shine Down and Breaking Benjamin like my top two.
Okay.
But I'm old.
Shine Down is who I thought you were going to say. Yeah.
I'm a Aussie fan. Like I got old school bands too, but like the type of music that I'm constantly in my car is that Shine Down style rock.
It depends on what kind of mood I'm in. I like all genres of music. You know, I like Frank Sinatra, you know, back to that era.
Oh, I like Frank Sinatra.
I like the heavy metal thrashing, Five Finger Death Punch.
Love Five Finger Death.
I like Casey and the Sunshine Band, you know. It's
I wouldn't kick you out of the car for that.
The Cranberries. I mean, it's very diverse.
You dropped country music on my radio, I'm probably going to hit a guardrail.
I like some country music too. It's not my like go-to for any means, but little Blake Shelton. I like Blake Shelton.
You go country mid-90s and back, I'm all day with it. I guess I refer to country as
Lori Morgan. Love Lori Morgan, man. Love me some Lori Morgan. Hell yeah. Another girl, she's got a bunch of hearts and says, "Damn it." I think she's got a heart on for you.
I don't. Girlwood. I don't know the question there. We'll just move on past that. We'll call that one Girlwood, and
yeah, we'll call that girl. We'll go back to let's go back to mine. I think there was another fellow Ohioan on here. Let's see. Yes, right here. So this is a longtime leadhead. J. Edgar Paradox says, "Hey, Officer Smith, I am a fellow Ohioan. Sum up 2020 and your thoughts on 2021," which I think we already did. "I am from the area. Is stand with Smitty. I stand with Smitty. Can you talk on this issue?"
So he's from the county where the officer I was talking about that tased that
okay, that was that one. Okay.
And I will tell you, for a community, and it's a little bigger than my community, but you want to talk about a community outright rallying behind one of their officers. That community, man, they blew it up there. And that hashtag he's talking is a page. It's a hashtag, and they also created a page that's I stand with Smitty, because we're talking about, like I said, an oak that was being attacked for doing his job, but he was being used
he was a puppet.
for that bullshit narrative over this mask, and that community knew it. And they knew that based on the way he worked. Yeah. We had a beep there. I thought maybe you stopped moving, so I thought maybe something happened.
No, I'm here. I'm just reading.
So, you just went like stationary to read. How I thought you froze.
No.
The reason why I think I connect with those guys so easily is that we're from the same type of community, and I guarantee you, he has supporters that were anti-mask, anti all of that. They knew that he was used in that. and that what his job was that day was just, and he handled that woman with kid gloves, and he did the right thing by his job, and they were exploiting that based on this mask. And anybody that's ever followed anything that I've put on that page, on that video, that I still stand with that guy. I hope the guy that's you're talking about, I didn't catch his name.
Yeah.
I hope he's doing okay after the Buckeyes lost too, man. I'm already worried about him because I know Ohio now.
Yeah, Jay Edgar, he's a longtime lead head. So, but yeah, he's obviously supporting Officer Smitty there. So I stand with Smitty. I guess you guys can find that and help support Officer Smitty and get those assholes off his back. Bonnie Smith says, do you enjoy your sandwich with the lights on or off? It's just a sandwich, right?
So there's a TikTok. There's a TikTok that I did that I've shared to Instagram. The lady is a plastic surgeon here up in Columbus. Her content is hilarious because she films in her office, and she was referencing to ladies, and she held up 2 sub sandwiches, and she said, "Which sandwich are you?" And there was a Arby's, air quote again, style ham sandwich, and then a ham sandwich that wasn't so thick in meat.
Arby's, we have the beef.
You can see where I'm going with that the reference to the ham sandwich. I made a video with her TikTok that said it didn't matter what type of ham sandwich, a guy's not going to care as long as the bread's not stale and the meat's not turned. So to answer that
stale
question,
or soggy, yeah.
And I'm only talking about a sandwich here. I don't have a preference in sandwich, and I'll eat the sandwich for lunch under a tree in broad daylight with a picnic blanket, or for a late night snack.
He'll eat it like a banana pie.
So
they're all banana pies to me.
Since I know you edit this, stand by with that last question because I'm gonna throw my kid in the car with me real quick.
Okay.
We don't have to cut off yet. Just give me a second. Okay, I'm back.
Okay.
Kid's got her. She got her phone with her. You want to say hi?
Hi.
What's up, chick?
I don't think you can see you.
I'm Marty. How are you?
You tell him your name.
Adrian.
Adrian.
Her name is Adrian, and guess where I picked that from?
Rocky Balboa, baby. Yo, Adrian.
I am a die-hard Rocky fan, and this kid got named after Adrian.
Oh, bless her heart. It's a good name though. Can't go wrong with Adrian.
You sit back on your phone. We're gonna keep talking. She's a pretty mild kid, so she won't do anything crazy.
Okay, so I'm gonna cut out a lot of these Tinder questions here. We're gonna
I can imagine.
skip over. They can ask you those on Tinder. Just call me Bug. You might want to go read hers. Just saying. Amy one Rosy Ear. Might want to go. Boxers or brief? I'll ask hers. Somebody was bound to ask.
I'm a combo guy. I'm a boxer brief guy.
Yeah, that's what I like too. Boxer briefs, baby. Love them. Let's jump over to Facebook. We'll take a couple of those, and then I'm assuming by this your girlfriend's name is Jessica.
No, so there's a story with Jessica, but
okay,
go ahead.
She's defending you. She's defending you.
Yeah.
Oh, Joseph David asked, do you use Just for Men, a touch of gray, or is it natural?
So here's what I tell assholes that I work with. So there's the touch of gray that is marketed to men our age is a person that has a lot of gray hair and they're trying to color some of it dark. Yes?
True.
I actually have a full mane of dark brown hair. I add the gray to it.
A little reverse psychology.
And it's my own, like my own product. It's not for sale. You can't find it anywhere. I do it to be distinguished.
I got you. It does add a distinguishing look,
But I'm got to do something because it looks like this side is getting, I'm screwing up and putting a little too much gray on this side.
You're getting patches over on the left?
I've got a dominant patch on the left and then like this trying to catch up to it patch on the right.
Well, that's because your left brain's more active because you're very creative,
I'm going to add that to the marketing side of this product when I do release it to the public.
There you go. If you're a creative person.
I cut my own hair. I've been cutting my own hair and nobody believes that because I do put a little style to it.
Okay.
And I tell at the office, I get dog. You can imagine what kind of shit I take where I work. And I get it from the top all the way down to the rookie. and it's over my hair. And they're like, what shit do you have in your hair? And here's the theory behind if I wash my hair and dry it and show you my hair, yeah, it is more gray than not.
Yeah.
I don't put a color in it. I put a product in it that fuses the dark hairs to the silver ones, and it takes away some of the silvers.
I got you.
That's what I do.
I haven't reached, I'm 49, like I said, I'm almost 50, and I haven't had that problem yet. So I got good genes from my dad.
Well, look me up when you do, and I'll give you the product that fuses them together.
All right.
It's just
now the beard is a little gray in the beard when I grow it out. So I'll hit you up with that. You give me your secrets, trade secrets.
Yeah, I'll keep you informed.
How do you unwind after a shift? Shula Shepherd wants to know.
So 2 things. The little thing that just jumped in the back seat here with me. My kids are my hobby. My oldest will be 16 in February. My boy is 13. My little one back here is 6.
Yo, Adrian.
My older 2 are in sports. I love my kids in sports. I just love it. So anything that has to do with my kids, whether it's now, like I said, my older one's getting ready to drive. She wants a car. So she's like, I'm her favorite because she knows I'm the one that's going to get her the car. So it's like the relationship that I have with my kids. I tell people my son is 13, man, and he is my best friend. It's not just because he's my kid. Like that boy talks to me like I'm talking to you. Maybe not so much cussing, but
we got to get him on the show then.
he is probably the sharpest, and everybody says it about their kids. I get it. But my son is a rational thinker, and he keeps me in check. Like the friendship that I have with him is awesome. All my kids, but like they're all individual. My son's like that one buddy that you call when you need something, whether it's to talk or whatever. My daughter, she keeps me the right kind of man because I believe that the way we are with our daughters, that's the guy that they're going to look for. So she keeps me in check as that guy. This little thing back here, she keeps my age in check because most people are like, oh my God, you're 42 and got a 6-year-old. I'm like, yeah, but she slowed me down. So like my kids are 5'1". They all 3, they do it.
Dude, you just earned major tender points there.
After I said that, I thought it was going to happen. And it's unfortunately, man, it's not a catchphrase. It's like the legit thing. My kids are that's how I unwind. If it's a bad day at work, and you can imagine the different types of calls we get, especially calls involving kids, not them being bad. I'm talking about that disrupted life that they shouldn't be living in. And then I see mine and it just keeps me leveled. Like my kids, hopefully I'm doing them right. And that task as being a good parent is actually how I unwind. I can see a smile on my kid's face that I couldn't see on this kid's face at a call, whatever.
Yeah.
Aside from beating that up, my kids being how I unwind, social media, man, I connect with people that I wouldn't have a chance to meet. Talk, like you, for example. I wouldn't have ran into you in Georgia, bullshitting underneath that Easy Up, getting that awesome ass business card, and then doing this podcast with you. Social media has now became a way that I unwind. I go to other people's content that I enjoy.
Yeah.
Go to my comments and see stuff that's positive that I enjoy.
That's how. That's really how this podcast got started. It started off as a hobby, just something that me and my buddy did to unwind, and something that we enjoyed doing, and hopefully others enjoyed it, and they did. And we grew from there. And 9 years later, I'm still doing it. So do what you love,
Absolutely.
So let me ask a couple more here, and then I've got a question for you. And these are funny ones. Stacy Mason, man girdles. Why?
She's probably asking why I call them man girdles.
Okay.
And that's the bulletproof vest, bullet resistant vest, whatever you want to call it. So I am not an in shape guy. I'm not a big old fat ass, but I struggle. I'm a skinny fat person, we'll say.
Yeah.
So
you like your fast food?
I like a little bit.
Yeah. I like my Taco Bell.
A Taco Bell is not considered fast food if you do it right. Look me up and I'll teach you
put
the right things to.
Ask them to put bacon on it, and it's not fast food.
It's not fast food. I can't roll through McDonald's unless I plan ahead. I cannot. Can't eat there unless I plan ahead. But I do like a bit of fast food. So I judge my weight gain or loss on my duty gear. When I reference my vest as a man girdle, it's because it is doing exactly what a female girdle does. It's just doing it to my chubby ass. When I take it off, it is the same relief that I assume a female does when she rips that bra off at the end of the night.
Let those girls hang, baby.
So that's where the man girdle come from. Plus, it just sounds cooler.
There you go. So, knowing the videos that I've watched of yours, you've got this thing going with the fire department and dispatch.
Yeah.
Sandra Gibson says, "Do you have a positive friendship with dispatch? Laugh my ass off. Can't wait for your response. Ha ha ha." Sandra Gibson.
So, older videos that reference any dispatch, I use the name Tammy, and Tammy's a real person. She was my dispatcher at the PD I worked at when I started my stuff.
Okay.
She is and I don't have a complaint about any dispatcher I've got current. So this isn't just focused because she's the best, but I'm telling you, that girl is somebody. Finding a dispatcher that loves their job, chose it because that's what they wanted to do for a living, and truly focus on the protection of their guys and everything that encompasses that job. I did it part-time for a hot minute before the academy and could tell you that they're underpaid, underappreciated. They certainly are not with me. Now, my content speaks to it a little bit different, but if it's a real dispatcher, somebody that knows that story, they know that it's the same banner between a fireman and a police officer. Right. So to Tammy, the reference that I make for her, it became a catchphrase to all dispatchers. And it was funny because a lot of dispatchers in my following embrace that title. They call each other Tammy. And how it started was we zoned bid in the city. When we came on shift, we got assigned to a zone. We did that on seniority. When I started there, I got stuck on the west side, which is where most of the bars were, the bottoms were at. It was like the rougher part of town. And if you meal broke, if a guy on a different zone went to a meal break and they weren't busy, you just kind of shuffled around. Well, I was getting hit with every fucking call coming. And I'm like, always pictured a dispatcher as like the controlling eye, like, you will do what I say. Well, you can't tell them no, you just got to go. I rolled through dispatch and I'm like, Tammy, listen, you give me one more call. My ass is making a video of you when I get home. Like, don't do it. She was like, I don't control what you think I control. Real sarcastic. She's awesome. Uh-huh. And the phone rang. She answers the phone all happy, looking right at me the whole time. Uh-huh. Yes, ma'am. What's your address? Uh-huh. I'll have someone right over. And she hung that phone up and she went, bye-bye, zone 3 call. And I'm like, you wait till I get home. Video about dispatch.
Don't test me, son.
she showed me where I live in the world that is public safety, right up underneath dispatch, man. They control it. That was the video that Daniel shared, and that's the one that kind of went viral first. And my relationship with my dispatchers here, we'll meme swap all day. They'll send me on a call, sit in my cruiser, I'll make a meme and send it right to them like, this is you just did this to me. But it's the relationship I have with every dispatcher I've ever worked with is solid. It's no different than a partner on the street. Like, I really have all the respect in the world for dispatch. I couldn't say that enough. Fire, I'll let the secret out. Some don't know this. I was a volunteer fireman forever.
Oh, cat's out of the bag.
So I was a volunteer firefighter and worked full-time as a cop. I got it both ways from both sides. It's like trying to be a Crip in a blood, wear half red and half blue. So I didn't have a home team. The relationship with fire and fire and police, or EMS and cops, I guess, totally medics and
right.
EMTs. And I'll get these comments every now and then, like, you can tell they're being serious. I can't believe you disrespect firemen. They're the real heroes. And I'm like, man, bitch, have a seat in the back. Like, you can't be possibly tied.
What part of comedian where it says underneath my social don't you understand?
Normal people see that and know it. Other people that want to raise the bullshit opposition, you're a cop, you shouldn't act that way. And when I see those comments, I'll tag like Jason Patton is the guy that runs Fire Department Chronicles. He is a solid dude, man. I've got to hang out with him. He has a fire page that's just blown up over the years. And I always tag him in those kind of comments. It's like, if you don't have any idea what this relationship between fire and police is, then have a seat.
Don't comment. Keep your comments to
yourself. Adults talk.
So Steven Sickler, he says, when can I do a ride along with you so you can show the career fireman the meaning of first responder?
I'm assuming he's a fireman, and I'm going to have to tell him that he needs to also find his order in pecking. We neither one are the first responders. We're going to give that title to dispatch. However, the next time he needs an officer to show up and make sure that scene is safe for him, time to hit me up. I'll run by and check. I'll wake him up, throw him in the car, and take him to make sure it's clear for him.
Clear the scene. Yeah, there you go. So we'll take, this will be the last listener one here. Paula Kinder. Does that ring a bell? You know her?
No.
Okay. It sounds like.
Are you on
Facebook right now? I'm on my Facebook. So she may be, it sounds like she's being a little facetious here. It says, how freaking amazing is it to be married to Nurse Smith? Why is there rumors at the ER that you have a man crush on a firefighter? Boxers or briefs? We already answered that. These questions were brought to you today by the letters R through N and the numbers 10 through 4. All jokes aside, thank you, Officer Smith, for all you do, both on the job and on here, keeping us all laughing. Us nurses will always back our blue. Cool.
So here's the cool story with the nurses to Officer Smith thing, then I'll get to that question. So when the appreciation day started popping up more positively a couple years ago, because it seems like even nurses at some point in 2020 were, being regarded as heroes, and then they took a hit. It's like whatever narrative's out there, it's set up to be negative to the professions. And I was seeing that all around the whole gamut of jobs. So people did, cop appreciation stuff. Nurses Week popped up at the PD I was at. I worked real well with that hospital. And I was seeing the nurses do things that like you thought doctors did, right? So I made an appreciation video for nurses. Any cop, relationship, friendship, whatever, with nurses, they can be just as badass as we are. But they're lacking a lot of stuff that we have access to. They're in pajamas. I was doing that in my head, like they're in pajamas, we're in a uniform. We got a duty belt, they got ink pens, and they still hold their own with some of these assholes that get sent to the ER. So I did an appreciation video for nurses, compared them to cops, and realized that we also fall under that pecking order, and nurses will hold a supreme position over a cop. They're more badass. Mm-hmm. That video takes off, right? So I got a nurse following. Well, I also have, and to answer this lady's question, ex-wife. My ex-wife is Nurse Smith on social media. She's got her own platform. She had the second year of Nurse Appreciation Week. The second year coming up on that day, I got a hold of her and I'm like, hey, I'm going to do a Nurse Appreciation Week video. The first year was more of a shout out. I said, this one, I want to make that shout out a reality. I want to have a nurse in this video. And I might have taunted her a little bit because, we're exes, but we've been friends 30 years. So I'm like, but you can give me a nurse's number. I'll call her up, and I just need someone that can talk a little bit of shit to me. And her response was like, I've known you 30 years. I was married to your ass for 2. I can talk that shit. No script, no nothing. We did a traffic stop scenario with a nurse versus a cop, and it drew attention to that character. Yeah. And she got a page started up. I think she's almost been 2 years. Okay. So to answer, we are not married. She's my ex-wife, but we've been friends 30 plus years. We share Adrian. So if anybody's not seen that page, if you're inside that profession, she's got some pretty good content out there.
Yeah, Nurse Smith, comedian. She's got comedian under her title there as well. I said that was the last one. I want to do this one too. Kathy Getek, Getek, because you say this a lot. What's with calling everyone a sinner? As a retired elderly, I sure wish I would have come up with that first. Love it.
So it probably happened when I was a kid. Me and my brother, we went to church as kids and vacation Bible school and all that stuff. And of course now he's a career preacher, and started making some videos, and he sent me a text message. I wouldn't let him proof them, but I would send him the video before I posted it. Because if there was going to be a harsh critic tell me, dude, that's going to flop, that's not funny, it's going to be my twin brother. And I had sent him a video, and he sent something back in regards to I, in the position that I'm in right now, could not find any humor in the following, or in the video that you just sent me, ... sinner. And he sent that. So I'm not calling him what? He was like, no, dude, that was funny. You got to post that. That was great. So then I started just picking that up in real life. Like if I was, at work and somebody said something, I would twist it just enough to make what they said worse than what I said, which mine was probably worse. And I called him a sinner. And then I started dropping it in videos. And I remember the first couple times it was like people were rolling over that one-liner, but my whole life is a one-liner. So I lose track of that stuff. And it was just an exchange between me and my twin brother. And then I dropped it in a couple of videos, and now it's became like a catchphrase. I've actually gotten people got pissed off. I'll to video and throw it out there, and it's like, oh man, I was waiting for the center line. So it's now it just has
kind of your tagline now.
Yeah, gotta make sure it's in there. Yeah.
Nice. All right, so my question is, when are you gonna start doing stand up?
Man, I don't know that. Like, I don't know that I could probably do that. And here's
no, you can do that. You can look at the way you're carrying on conversation here. Your videos, like you said, nothing's rehearsed, nothing's scripted. You would kill as a stand-up, dude.
So here's where I end up plugging and don't mean to plug. So most of the guys that are in my network of social media figures, whatever you want to call them, are, I would put it in like a parody type of comedy. But there's one that's not. And his name's Vinny Montez. He is currently still active, full-time police officer, works out in Boulder, Colorado. And his platform, he is truly a stand-up comic. He is a police officer, stand-up comic.
You say he's in Boulder?
He's out in Boulder. I think he's actually in supervision, where here we might call him a sergeant, lieutenant. I think he's titled as a commander out there. And the guy is legit stand-up comedy, and I can't explain that level of humor. You've got to seriously check him out. VINNIEMONTEZ.com, Vinny Montez. I guarantee you this is him. He's got the police glasses. He's got a big donut sticking his head through caricature. He's a big funny Mexican.
Got a big meathead, yeah.
And he is, when I see, like, I'm not saying I appreciate that people find me funny. I would have to be controlled on a different level probably for stand-up, because I respect that art. To watch him do it is incredible. And that's a guy that writes his own jokes. I mean, he's incredible. On the opposite side of public safety detached, I have a lot of people that always ask, when are you and Dustin Sims going to do something else? And Dustin is a guy that worked, I think it was like a Toyota or Honda plant. And he started doing he was doing videos with the same filter that I use. And we just like tagged each other once and like, we got to do something. And he and I did a series of 4 videos. And it's that traditional, like, here's that one pain in the ass that you always get stuck with on a call. We didn't write this material. We just went off of each other. Dustin ended up going from, working in a plant to stand-up comedy. And when you watch these guys in that art, like, and again, not that I'm trying to plug him, but Dustin Sims, I think his page is Dustin Sims Comedy. Dude, that guy is just funny.
Yeah.
I mean, he's stand-up comedy. And it's not like...
It is an art, it's a skill. You have to be, you have to craft it.
I could be harnessed. Somebody could control me and show me that way. But sitting there in a crowd, watching those guys do their thing, it's impressive. It's like, Rick, you wait, you do your own thing and see if you can maybe peek into it. But I think I appreciate that. I took that as a compliment. That question that was asked, I appreciate that. That makes me think I'm on their level as a spectator. If you haven't seen those guys, go check them out. They are.
Yeah, I got Vinny pulled up here. What was the other guy's name? Dustin
Sims.
Dustin Sims. Okay. And he's a professional comedian?
He is a professional comedian. His humor, if I'm going to get tickets to a show to like unwind on a Saturday night, the type of comedy of Dustin Sims in the like non-cop related stuff, non-public safety stuff, that guy's my level of humor. If I'm in public safety and I want to see an animated Mexican that tells jokes that you laugh, like that awkward laugh where people are going to look at you, and you've never made that noise before, that's Vinny Montez comedy. I get feedback from those guys like, dude, Rick, where the hell did you come up with that? Like, I don't know, man, it just popped out. I wish I could do that. And it's like this back and forth with these guys, but that stand-up comic, man, that's something different. Those guys that's what stand-up comedy is. I'm like some punchline.
It takes, it's like anything. It takes practice. It takes years of
oh yeah, absolutely,
getting your stick down right. But you could do it, man. I think you could do it.
Maybe one day you might. Maybe I'll
get you at more of these gun shows, and we'll have like a mic night or something like that.
Now that I've had my foot in that ground, and my next one's gonna be comfortable. Man, that was a blast. I can't wait for next year.
Oh,
I heard they might go try to bounce. Big Daddy's gonna try to bounce theirs around a little bit, which for me it was not bad. I mean, I drove it. I like to drive. I drove down there and enjoyed that 4 days. I took 4 days. I made a little bit of a vacation out of it, but Yeah, next time you get a few shots in me, man.
Ain't no telling what you'll do. We'll get you on stage with your boxer briefs on.
I am straight guy, right? You put me in a group of like-minded people. I'm also the guy from high school that's like, oh, that guy will eat it. Like, give him 50 cents, he'll eat it. One bad decision made by somebody that's not going to do it, I'm probably the guy that's going to do it. So you can talk me into it the next time.
You're like Bert Kreischer. You ever watch that guy? He's hilarious.
Oh, yeah.
I love that guy, too. Well, very good. There's a lot more questions. I'm sorry if I didn't get to everyone's questions there. Maybe Rick will take some time and go through there and hit some of you guys up with your answers.
Yeah, I was waiting. We were done. I was going to go back through and try to hit as many as I could, just so that I knew it was going to be timed. And they're awesome followers, man. They'll listen, be like, that asshole didn't answer my question. Then I'm going to make sure I've answered it on wherever they posted it, because well,
we'll have you on again, and we'll get the other questions answered. This has been really fun. I've enjoyed this. I love it when I have guests like you when I don't have to say anything. It's it's perfect.
Oh,
you carry the show. I love it.
I have a medical condition that keeps me from shutting up. Anybody that knows me, no, I'm not kidding you. He don't shut up. My brother don't shut up. I mean, it's just.
It's that. Well, that's just some people have the gift of gab, and you do, and when. You're not just gabbing, you're actually got something to say. So, and you put it, I like the twist you put on it. It's funny. It's, your channel's very entertaining. I can see why you've got so many followers. So thank you for being on. Thank you for sharing, some of your followers with us. I just noticed that we've got a whole bunch more new followers. So welcome to Talking Lead. I hope we can entertain you as much as Officer Smith does. We appreciate that. And the same for our lead heads. Go to Officer Smith's Facebook, Instagram. Are you on YouTube?
I am on YouTube. I think I sent you that. Maybe it didn't send. I was trying to.
You may have. Go ahead and give those links. It's just Officer Smith. If they Google or search Officer Smith, you're going to come up, right?
Yeah, the only one I think that's got a 1 attached to it is
the Grams. The Grams.
And that was understanding how to make page names at the time.
So I want to ask Adrian. Can I ask Adrian a question?
Absolutely.
Hey, Adrian. What's the best quality about your dad? What do you like most about your dad? That many things. There's so many things.
What makes me cool as a dad? Nothing? You can't think of nothing?
I don't know.
Let me ask you this. How fun was it to do that video you did with him around Christmas time about the what kind of Santa were you called? The Snowflake Santa.
I loved it.
You loved it? Have you been getting a lot of fans from that? You got a lot of followers now? Are you a celebrity?
You got time because he can see us.
Yeah.
You got time. Yeah. They anytime I put one of these kids anywhere, man, they see that's their personality. And this one here is just, I tell people that the gap between my oldest daughter and my youngest daughter is about 10 years. Like, oh man, that's got to be rough. Like, no, it's not. I get them in a room together for 5 minutes. I either have two 16-year-olds or I've got two 6-year-olds. So it's the same.
And you got a babysitter.
Yeah, but sometimes I get nervous like I'm leaving two 6-year-olds behind.
Oh, no doubt. Have they ever done any videos on their own? Have you got them into doing their own stuff?
No, here's the transition that I'm in right now. So when I first started, my boy's always been like the #1 fan, right? He just loves it. He's an active sports kid, but he's a YouTube generation kid.
Sure.
And anything that I've done, he's always been like right around it, like helping me out, do whatever. My daughter, God love her, she was about 13-ish when it started around that, and it mortified her, right? She was like the teenage daughter that was embarrassed that her old dad was on social media. And there was this little switch to where like local friends of hers started catching it. And she was doing what she could do to like, no, it's not my dad. It's some other kid's dad.
Playing it off.
Girl.
Yeah.
But then all of a sudden it kind of like one day random, we had one of her friends going to the movies and she was like, so dad, this boy had talked to her at school and this boy had like, your dad's got a TikTok. I found your dad's TikTok. He's funny. So then I noticed it switched with her a little bit. Like if her friend in the back seat was like, So do you do Instagram? Yeah, we do Instagram too. And then she like takes over the.
Oh yeah.
So I'm in
it's cool now. You know, I can
now
reel
it's
in
cool.
boys with my dad now.
Yeah. So now my son's always loved it. This kid right here, I put a camera. She's
a ham. I can tell.
We don't have it like published except for brothers and sisters, but this kid's
Sure.
got more TikTok videos than I've got. And I kid you not, it's not like, here, Adrian, do this TikTok. The kid navigates herself through TikTok and makes her own TikToks. And I've seen a few that's like, I'm legit not realizing it's my own 6-year-old. I'm liking it and commenting to her like she can read the full comment.
Right.
Because she's just an animated little kid. All my kids are like that. God love them. And their teachers, I pray for them daily. And, you know.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Talk about that story that you were telling me with the patrol car and the taser.
Are you talking about the time that I achieved that like every cop's goal to where you don't violate policy, but you have one written about you?
Yeah, that, or one that you would see in what are those Canadian cops? What's that show? That movie, Super Cops, Super Troopers. Yeah, this is like something you'd see in Super Troopers.
I do have a Super Trooper moment. I probably have several, but I have one that comes to mind that's probably my, I guess, claim to fame on that.
Yeah.
So, to paint the scenario, we're in a big shopping, like a strip mall shopping plaza that's got like 10 times the Walmart parking. I mean, we're talking about a huge shopping center. There was an end of the shopping center that had one big building like a Walmart that was vacant. So the parking area was like 2 football fields, no cars. And part of the shift, 3 or 4 guys and a K9 was dealing with a guy. I was actually dealing with a meth lab. I'm a certified meth tech, and I was dealing with a meth lab on the other end of this parking lot. So when I get done with the meth lab part, fire department rolls away, and I'm like, what are all those cruisers doing down there? So I jump in mine and drive down there. Now, this is a different shift, and so I kind of like stay low-key off the side and walk up, and it was almost like a line of cops starting with a sergeant. And the guy on the end was talking to a suspect, and I'm like, what's going on, Sarge? He was like, this guy's giving a fake ID. They got called here. He was like panhandling in front of a laundromat or something like that. And they got dope on him. I'm like, what's the rookie doing? It's like, well, we're letting him do a field interview. And I'm like, as soon as I make contact with the guy, eye contact with him, I'm like, hey, Sarge, he's going to bolt. He's like, no, he's not going to run. There's too many of us here. I'm like, he's going to run the second that he hears whether or not he's got warrants. I mean, this was like watching a training video go to shit. Like, I just knew that.
You could just read them, body language, everything. Yeah.
Everything. And you just knew the warrant was going to come back. Now, mind you, there's, not counting my car, there's 4 cruisers, regular patrol cruisers, and a K9 cruiser sitting there. So radio traffic comes back, confirmed warrant, felony warrant, different state, and the guy almost just painted. Gone. Now, picture this line, almost single file. Guy takes off, closest officer takes off, and then everybody just starts bolting. The sergeant's the next one closest to me, and I'm looking at 4 cruisers plus a K9 cruiser and 4 officers on the ground chasing this guy through a wide open, I mean, completely 4 Walmart parking lots empty worth of pavement.
Right. You're like, I can put an end to this real quick.
Even the Sarge takes off running. And I'm like, why is everybody running when the start gun went off? Old boy had 40 yards on you.
And he's jacked up on meth. You ain't going to catch him.
Off to the races. Like, I'm running out of fear and consequences, and you're chasing me off Krispy Kremes and an accountant's ass. Like, who's going to win this race? So I'm like, walk to my cruiser, get in my cruiser, and take off. At minimum, I was going to get myself in front of him. The parking lot kind of like tapers down into a road, which is not really a road. It's just like a road inside the parking lot. Yeah. But at the end of that 30 yards of road is woods. That's where he was trying to get to. Now, not a new guy, 20 years on at the time. I'm driving 45 mile an hour or so to catch him because they're already off to the races. I roll my window down and I get up to within earshot of him. I'm like, stop running. And he looks back and signals with the I'm going to continue to run, flips me off.
One gun salute. Yeah.
Yeah. Never misses a beat. I cross draw with my taser. So it's actually like in front of my belt, like in front of my belly, whatever, that area. So I reach down with my right hand. Now I'm a right-handed guy. So I'm driving with my left, reach down with my right, pull my taser and like south side it across my arm with my window down, and I'm still communicating. Dude, you better stop running. I'm going to tase you.
Driving at a controllable speed, not out of control.
I get an echo of the I'm not stopping finger. And, you know, taser training's pretty cut and dry. It's like, here's my taser. I'm going to tase you. Stop doing what you're doing. And he continued to do it. So I deployed my taser from my cruiser. Now, I have no hindsight because I know my distance from him. I know that he was not in jeopardy of hitting my car. I wasn't going to run him over. Mm-hmm. I know the taser length. I know the distance that I was from him. And from a moving cruiser, I shot this guy. One barb hit him in the shoulder, one hit him in his hip. And the end result was magical. The taser did its job. It locked him up from head to toe. And he did if you can imagine what a swan dive would look like, but not a swan at all.
More like a dolphin.
Well, even a dolphin's got a curve. If you could imagine taking a 2x4 and just throwing it into the air, like from its ass end,
yeah,
and then watching it land, that's what happened. Stopped my car, put it in park. Now I'm a distance away from everybody else. Now we're around this building. So whenever I get stopped, I open my door. Now my taser's barbs or the taser wires through the window.
Yeah.
So I get out with my taser still attached. It didn't even break the connection. And I had to like pass my taser to myself. Here comes the first officer, panting. Did you get him? I'm like, yeah, he just needs handcuffs. Like, now he hit the ground pretty good, right? But he didn't hit the ground at my speed. He hit the ground at his running speed.
Sure.
So here comes the rest of the convoy of panting out of shapers that left their cruisers a half mile back down the road. And a sergeant that was in a full freak out. Like, oh my God, what'd you do? I'm like, I got him.
I apprehended the suspect. Come on.
Here he is. Get the squad there. The coolest thing that happened probably is I've got half of a shift that's not mine freaking out. I'm like, what is wrong? The squad shows up. The guy, he put himself to sleep for a few seconds. Sure. I mean, he hit pretty good. When he comes to, he's handcuffed, and we recover. We put him in recovery position. We treated him right.
Which he wouldn't have fallen any further had one of the guys on foot tased him from behind. It would have been the exact same.
Now, I know this. I know this as a trained guy. You know it from logic. It's a logical
physics.
thing.
Yeah.
So the squad shows up, and the guy's coming to, and he goes, who the fuck hit me? And I was like, oh, I tased you from the car. He's like, man, that's no joke. That shit worked right now. Did you see that? Like, it was like,
he was impressed.
Everybody else is kind of freaked out. I'm like, Sarge comes up and does his thing. Well, I get into an IA over this. Like, it goes into a full-blown investigation.
Holy shit.
And I'm like, listen, I've been through taser training. I've been tased a million times. The guy fleeing, not only fleeing after he was put under arrest for his warrant, he was fleeing on a felony warrant from a different state. They had felony drug charges on him. He was around no other human beings but cops and around no other vehicles. Nothing was in jeopardy of
wasn't a playground. Yeah.
I tased him where I saw it be safe, and it was in a wide open parking lot. There was no way that I could have got ahead of him. He was already at his speed running. You know, it was to apprehend the suspect, and it worked flawlessly. IA still, man, I went through it for a few days, did my interviews and all that. At the end of the day, there was no policy violation there. I was so far within policy that they decided to write a policy that says, yeah, don't tase people.
That you can't do it from there because it works so good. It's so effective, you can't do that. It's unfair to the criminals.
Yeah, so to have policy written after myself, you know, I always expected it to be cool to have like maybe a jail one day named after you or, you know, something like that. But
you got a maneuver. You got a policy and a maneuver.
You got a policy and a maneuver. I might have been the only one to successfully pull it off before the policy.
That's something I'd be interested to hear. So, we got any other LE listeners out there? If you've got a similar story, share that with us. TalkingLead@gmail.com.
I'd love to know. I would just love to know if anybody has made a successful. Because you got to think about it, a successful contact from a moving car at a moving suspect who is at full speed. Now his running speed he was like track star, college combine.
He's probably hitting 20 miles an hour, wasn't he?
And the barb placement was perfect. Taser application
textbook.
was perfect.
It's like in Top Gun, you know. It's like this is a textbook move as to what not to do, but it worked.
But it worked.
It
worked. It was okay at the time. It's just not okay now.
Right. You're the one gun salute. Oh man, that's a good story. I like that. So apparently the higher ups had it out for you anyway. They're trying to stir shit over that. Even the perp was giving you congratulations on a great shot. You know,
like, man, who got me? Man, that shit was that. I couldn't do shit after. Yeah, he was. I don't think that's that people notice with most the media shoves you the negative shit, the worst shit they could possibly shove you.
Oh yeah.
But I tell you that I have treated people in my policing communities in a way, and felony arrest, hard felony cases. I worked dope plain clothes for 9 years. So I was like, I was dealing with that element, right? And I never, outside of that court battle, have never once ever got accused of being like even disrespectful. I get it that people make bad decisions and there's consequences for those bad decisions. I don't have to amplify the color of my uniform or the shininess of my badge to make someone's day any worse. But just do your job. And I've got that respect from people. And I've noticed now that sometimes you get more respect from somebody that you've done right. Like, yeah, man, you got me.
Absolutely.
My bad. They don't look for some
I was in fugitive recovery for a while. I did that for a few years. And, I mean, catching those guys, some of those, I mean, they're crafty. They're hard to find. They can disappear. But when you catch them, the majority of them would like, man, how'd you find me? They were like impressed. They're damn.
Like that unwritten book of cops and robbers that if a guy that knows his choices are poor, but he's going to continue to make them, and you're there they'll tell you that up front. The generation's different. Now that younger group is like calling every possible thing they can call. I want, give me a drug and alcohol counseling. I'm not disrespecting the profession. I'm saying that we have painted them a path to be chief.
Yeah.
We have painted a path for excuses where the older generation is like, yeah, hell, man, I've been dealing weed for 35 years and not one of you son bitches ever got close. You did me right.
Props to you for finding me, dude.
These are guys that if you set them in front of a court and they were talking about diversion and probation and all these things, they'd look at you and go, no, but I did that.
Right.
You send me to jail. I did it.
Give my just desserts. Come on.
But we don't have that this new generation, man. They're being groomed to be entitled as people that are, you're not talking suspect, talking about someone's been caught right, the system treated them right, and they're being punished for that. They still have 8 different avenues of entitlement that makes the cop out to be the bad guy for doing it. That's our current narrative.
You getting yelled at? You getting yelled out there?
No, she took a cheese stick and asked me what it was, that it was cheese. She opened it up. I opened it for her. She whispers to me, I might not like this cheese.
All right, so now it's time for the Talking Lead.
New guy. And sometimes a girl. Questions.
So what is your earliest experience with a firearm?
Oh, I can actually tell you what it was I shot at. Now, I'm a country guy, so there's always
I'm with you. Yeah.
Shooting a New England firearms single shot 20 gauge, as old as Adrian. But I can tell you the first pistol I ever shot, that it was a nickel plated 22. Couldn't tell you the model. It was a 22 revolver, and I can tell you the first thing I shot at it would have been during the first would have been the start of the first Desert Storm.
Okay.
My stepdad at the time was in the Army when he was younger, and he was in the National Guard when my mom and him had met. And my brother and I are kind of artsy, so we can draw. Like I would draw portraits of people. He would draw cartoon characters. And I remember my stepdad handing him out of a newspaper article a cartoon character of Saddam Hussein.
Okay.
And looked at my brother and he's like, make this a big one, and drew it on a poster board. And then we went outside and he brought out this shiny cowboy gun. I was a little kid, so it was like something that John Wayne would carry.
Really?
And he showed us how to shoot a pistol. That's my earliest memory of a pistol, was shooting this nickel-plated 22 at a target of Saddam Hussein.
Saddam Hussein, did you hit it?
Well, yeah, it took me probably a shot or two because I'd never shot.
Yeah, then you got comfortable with it. And you're like, this is for me, baby.
Absolutely.
Do you still have that gun?
No, it was his. He also had a son that was our age, and it went to his son.
Oh, okay.
That gun is still alive and well somewhere.
I wish you still had that target. That'd be awesome. So when it comes to pop culture, and I know where you're going to go with this. What do you listen to, watch? Whether it's a movie, TV, music. Obviously, you gave us your favorite bands there. Or maybe it's like a social media thing or something you go to. What do you do to unwind and relax and just kind of get your safe space?
Now, if it's just with like the media idea, yeah, I'm a hard rock guy. But like you said earlier, like music itself, I think is mood music.
Yeah.
And even though that it's hard rock, and it's funny, my brother, the preacher, he'll bring me up in some of his sermons, which is kind of weird because I don't know where he's going to go with it when he does it. But I'll send him some of my music. And let's say it's a Shinedown song, Breaking Benjamin, something that's labeled as harder.
Mm-hmm.
He'll break lyrically and say, there's a piece in this song, even though it sounds hard. So the majority of my default to Unwind, it's not me playing on social media or at my kids' sporting events. It's in music, and it's in that hard rock style music. As far as movies go, I mean, I don't know how many. I'm the Expendables guy, right?
Oh, you like the Expendables of Balboa.
Well, my mom still tells me to this day that Sylvester Stallone is my biological father, but he just won't pay child support and won't call her back.
So is that why you like Sylvester Stallone? Because your mom's got a crush on him?
She shoved him down our throats when we were little, and I'm telling you, the Rocky movies, dude, I own them all. Every pipe, every box set, every collection. But whenever TNT or one of the USA or one of the TV shows runs the edited marathons, I'm in front of the TV until they go off.
That's your go-to. Rocky movies, Rambo.
All the Rambo, Rocky, Expendables. Dude, I even like Oscar. I think I was like 6 people that saw that movie.
Oscar.
Do you remember Oscar?
I do. That was back in the day too. That was a horrible movie.
Like, all the rock, anything Sylvester Stallone's in my go-to. As far as comedies go, I'm like that Deadpool comedy, Step Brothers type of comedy.
Yeah. I like what's his face, Will Ferrell. Yeah, he's hilarious. What is the next piece of kit or firearm that's like on your radar? The next gotta have, wanna have, and it could be something other than a firearm or a piece of kit or something like that. What do you eyeballing? Might be a guitar. I don't know. What is it? What's your next?
So
I'm gonna buy.
Talking about a gun, I've never built any of my own guns. There's a guy at the office. He is Tackleberry from Police Academy. He is absolutely. I mean, on entries, if we're doing search warrants, I mean it's a joke for him, but it's a reality that if you run out of anything, gun, ammunition, magazine, anything, his name's Andy. Just reach over anywhere and get a hold of Andy, and you'll come back out with what you need. And this guy went to high school with him, graduated with him. This guy's been that way since we were kids. And he built my first AR. He built it.
Mm-hmm.
I've never done that.
Oh, dude, so, it's a black hole you're gonna fall into. You start doing it, you're gonna love it.
So I did buy 80% Arms baited me after the Epic shoot. I got baited by them.
Mine's sitting over there.
Okay, so you got the same thing in the mail that I got?
Yeah.
Dude, all over that. Like that's my what money I got to put into it. That's my next project. I want to build that. I want it to be.
But I haven't done a pistol yet. This will be my first pistol. I have done 80%ers in the past. I've done some ARs, but I absolutely love it, man. I love building my own stuff.
I'm afraid that after this pistol gets done, that I'm going to just jump straight to a rifle. I know that I'm going to do that.
I'm telling you, man, just prepare to start dropping some bucks because it's addicting.
Great.
Yeah, it's fun. It's fun. So, laws be damned, money be damned. What would you own or do?
What would I own or do?
Yeah. No laws, no regulations.
Oh, I would make a land. I would take a Escape from New York, Escape from LA. And I would get the United States back to not the movies themselves, because there was a government control idea in those movies, but the idea of not just criminals, because some criminals are some good. I say criminals. Previous offenders.
Okay.
They're good people. There's some good people in that mix. I would take the people that are trying to disrupt what our country was founded on, disrupt what is peace, what is prosperity, what is me living the American dream, setting a goal, and all the people that are in the way of that, that's where we would send their asses. So it would probably be New York once we get the good people out.
But wouldn't you send them further away? Wouldn't you want to send them like a good boat ride away?
Well, we'll send them to California, and we'll have no money, no object. So we'll separate California from the edge of the rest of the United States.
We'll just jackhammer it off the rest of the country and let it float out toward Hawaii.
They got a good governor already, so we'll just let him run it.
They love their governor there. Yeah.
So that's where I would do with endless money, and then everything else you wouldn't have to have the endless money, because then you can go right back to work and do the things that you want to do and focus on your own life. But we got to get rid of that first.
There you go. That's a great answer. I like that. Last question. If you could spend the day at the range with anyone, whether they're still living, passed away, fictional, could be a group of people, who would you like to spend the day at the range with? So
I've learned a lot about like the Leviathan tribe guys, some of the gun guys, the guys that are, and I'm not discrediting them. Some of them I know I could learn from, these master marksmen and all that. But that question defaults in my brain to it's my grandfather on my mom's side. Never met him. He passed away when my mom was like 7 years old.
Mm-hmm.
And my brother and I didn't say this earlier, but like my twin brother, before he got into politics, he was also an officer, worked in the same area as me. We worked a couple shifts together. So twin brother, when we did our, growing up and listening to stories about our grandpa, found out a lot of history that he was a beat cop in California. My mom came from California. So he was a cop like back when it was something different.
Sure.
They moved from California to Columbus.
Yeah.
When he was in Columbus, I have a great uncle that's still living, so to be his brother. They both worked as officers up there. Didn't know that as an older kid. I probably heard the stories as I got older and learned he was a military veteran. I started to learn about this guy that I never got to know, that my mom didn't get to. He was killed in a car accident, and she didn't get to know him as the I'm 18, graduating, going on to my life guy. But the stories that I heard about him when law enforcement was a nightstick and a long, like the old school trench coat look.
Yeah.
Walking a foot beat, to stand on a range, I associate that range with your dad's teaching you how to shoot, or the uncle that you don't get to see except Thanksgiving, deer season. He comes in, sights his rifle in, or sights his shotgun in. I feel like sitting on a range with that man all day, 12 hours, whether it's shooting a single shotgun, some crazy fully automatic that I've never heard of, or pistol shoot. Tying the stories into that kind of day, that would be my idea of a range day.
There you go.
It's not how many rounds I send down range or how many cool things I shoot, but talking to somebody that came through the evolution of a gun, for example. It didn't look like this when I was, a cop, and here I'm holding an MP5.
Just getting some good life stories kind of thing.
Yeah. Here's how we did it. Here's how you're doing it. And then, crack some rounds down range. That would be my idea of a range.
And that, that's kind of the purpose of the question. I use the range because, we're a firearm-centric thing, but it's basically who would you like to spend the day with, kind of thing, if you could do that.
It's perfect because I can picture that environment. There's me at 42 and him at 42 on a range, that environment. And it's listening to somebody that's, my age when he passed away to my age now, and the differences in the culture, the climate, cops they are now. And then, all right, your turn. See if you can, hit center mass here, and have that range. Putting that range in that's perfect. Than just who to spend the day with, because that environment would
You said he was in the military. I'm sure he served in World War II.
He would have been World War II aged. Yeah.
Yeah, greatest generation, man.
And those are the ones.
Those guys knew some stuff, and if we still had them around today, our country would not be in the shape that it's in.
Get jammed up on calls. I hit that generation on a call. I'm there for an hour. Man, I'll listen to every word they've got to say.
Oh yeah, right on. Great show, man. We could go on for hours. You've got some great stories, and I've got a shit ton more questions that I want to talk to you about. So we'll have to earmark those and get you back on again in the near future.
Absolutely. Love to do
that. So Leadheads, again, make sure you go and show Officer Smith some love. Let him know that you found him and that you're a Leadhead. You heard him here on the show. And for you Officer Smith followers that are now following us and listening to the show, thank you so much. We appreciate it. Keep it up. TalkingLead@gmail.com if you have any questions for me, any guests that you'd like to have us on the show, or topics. We just kicked off Season 3 of our AK Corner. That's the episode before this, so if you didn't get a chance, make sure you go back. Check that out. We had Professor Paul Markle with Student of the Gun, and I tried to stick with the Vietnam era AKs, RPKs, but the conversation, as you well know, we chase squirrels here, went in a different direction, but it's a very good show, very informative. We talk a little ARs, we talk a little AKs, but it's a good show. Brian Keeney with Occam Defense co-hosted with me on that, and he's going to be doing that throughout the series of the AK Corner. And we had some awesome giveaways, as we always do here on the Talking Lead podcast. Rick, there's no other podcast that gives away more than Talking Lead. We gave away 1,000 rounds of ammo, previous episode. Prior to that, we had a $10,000 in prizes giveaway that we did. We gave away 5 firearm packages during Christmas. So 5 of our lead heads walked away with like $2,000 in prizes and guns.
Well, you got to send me stuff. I'll make sure to get it out too.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I mean, we're always having giveaways and contests. And then on our AK Corner, we gave away a target from Guardian Target Systems, Seal 1, cleaning products, and then we gave away Mission First Tactical, the Talking Lead logoed AK Corner dump trays. And we're going to have, every episode, we're going to have giveaways during the AK Corner like we do every season. First season, Rick, we gave away 12 AK-47s.
12 AK-47s?
12. We gave away 12 AK-47s during season 1 of the AK Corner. So you just never know. You gotta listen. You gotta participate, because we reward our listeners for participation on social media, on the show. What are you showing me there? What do you got? A strawberry? I like strawberries. But make sure you go and support those that support the show. All of our sponsors: Mission First Tactical, Seal 1, Occam Defense Solutions, Guardian Target Systems, ASP USA. There's a ton of them. You know who they are. We talk about them every episode. We get them on. They talk about their products. They give you their products. That's the great thing about our sponsors. So make sure you go show them love. Kel-Tec, we had Kel-Tec reveal their new P50. Have you seen that?
I have not seen that, but you said Kel-Tec, and I started looking back towards the front to see it, and we moved the top part.
Yeah, so they just released their new 5.7 by 2.8 pistol in true Kel-Tec fashion. You know, it's very futuristic looking kind of gun. We had Chad on, and he answered all your P50 questions. So you got brace questions, you have compatibility questions, you had other questions about it. We answered them on that episode, so make sure you go back and listen to that.
Well, that buddy of mine, Tackleberry, I was telling you about, he probably just woke up from a nap because he sensed that you said that Kel-Tec had something.
Kel-Tec.
Oh,
yeah, Kel-Tec. They've been a good, strong supporter of Talking Lead since the beginning, and we really appreciate them, so go show them some love. But yeah, man, that's it. Great show. Thank you so much. So until the next episode, Leadheads, as always, keep your loved ones close.
And your firearms closer. Because if you don't, well, your wife will probably sell them for Tupperware. Then again, your ex-wife will find out that you got the firearms and drag your ass back to court, see if she can't liquidate those things for more alimony. Sinners.
Sinners.